accuracy, meaning these types of tests, and the predictive efficacy, there's a gap. Major medical bodies like American Psychiatric Association do not currently recommend these panels as a first-line tool for newly diagnosed patients. Instead, their highest proven clinical utility is for treatment-resistant patients. Sounds like, Sam, that might have been you. Those who have already failed multiple medication trials, who have a history of extreme sensitivity to side effects. In these scenarios, the test function as an excellent red flag system, and they help narrow the field by definitively ruling out medications that the patient's liver cannot handle rather than. So that's really interesting, actually. Mo, I'm. You don't have to confirm or deny, but I'm willing to bet you're also one of these people who are kind of in a treatment-resistant camp because you talked a bit about ketamine, and therefore, most people who try ketamine as a medicine for episodes are in the treatment-resistant camp, not just.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and that's why they recommended the test for me. But I was just like, yeah, do the ketamine again, and that really worked for me. Um, uh, not that I did want to ask this question, and we can talk about it at another point. But um, my brother deals with like bipolar, ADHD, OCD, all this stuff. Um, so he was going to, and then treatment resistant depression too. And he was going to look into Spravato, which is the Johnson and Johnson patented version, basically of ketamine.
And I have a comment for you once you finish this, just anecdotally about.
Yeah, yeah. But he was kind of scared about it. But his treatment team recommended TMS, and I was curious what your thoughts were on TMS because he did, yeah, I think 40 days of it and found great relief.
Transcranial magnetic
Stimulation, I think.
stimulation, yeah. So then there's people also do electroconvulsive therapy. Would this be the one that you would say is in a similar camp or different? Because I've heard this being used. I don't have the research in front of me to talk about it with any sort of you know knowledge.
Yeah, no, I mean it's different. It's different than it, but it does I believe do some sort of rewiring and
Kind of like the reboot that they do when you get the electro shock
yeah.
therapy. That kind of, is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much. I know for him he just had these intensive obsessive thoughts and like it just couldn't get out of that break out of that circle. They were just really intense and so he said for him it's just everything is just like mellowed out like he can handle those intense period like it doesn't get as intense so anyways I'm speaking about his experience. I don't know personally for myself but I know that that was one that was suggested for me but yeah I went the ketamine route and I felt that was
My understanding is there are two kind of active. I'm watching this up. Someone who's much more.
based the numbers.
The one that's removed from theirs is one that has the more kind of psychedelic. Yeah, right. And so what I've heard anecdotally, this is basically no. This is what I'm about to say is almost no better than my feelings or an opinion. But what I've heard anecdotally, and I'll actually do a little digging on this, is that part of when people get the more long-lasting changes from ketamine, it's from the full-bodied, everything, in ketamine approach, and that this other approach requires more re-ups. So that would work. If you're a pharmaceutical company and you're looking for a way to get people to, buy your product, you want to, it's like they want you to need more re-ups. So I get when I say that, I sound just like the people I'm like really annoyed by who come up and say similar things about other things. So I will do my research on that particular piece and see if there's any evidence to back that. But I thought that was really interesting, anecdotally, my worthless opinion. And Dehana, hi, hello.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, you guys moved past it, but
No, let's go
yeah,
back. I saw you come up when we were talking about DNA agent.
yeah, that's what I did for my master's thesis. So the ones that they usually test for are CYP2D6 and CYP2C9. Again, like Sam said, these are liver enzymes that metabolize lots of things, but including um, SSRIs. There's also CYP3A4. CYP3A4 is the one that's really affected by like grapefruit juice. And so, look, what I was doing was drug-drug interactions and drug dietary interactions on the modification of the dosage and how long it might take somebody, like SSRIs takes 3 weeks or so to start working. And if they've been kind of wild with their diet, changing things sometimes, or taking herbal supplements, that often changes the ability of their body to metabolize and absorb those particular drugs. But I was looking at other things too, like your gut microbiome and how that sometimes chews up drugs. Because usually when they test genetically, they only test for liver metabolism and kidney metabolism, and that's it. They don't do anything else. They don't do things like absorption in your esophagus and your stomach, or later on in your small intestine. So I was looking at a bunch of different things, and again, because SRIs take so long to work, that often skews a lot of the results. And then the other thing about SSRIs, some of them are only uh, serotonin uptake inhibitors, and some are combinations of norepinephrine stimulants and serotonin uptake inhibitors. So, as Sam was, I was also searching for a long time. I never took a genetic test, but I just was very adamant and yelling at my doctor, my psychologist or psychiatrist, and I finally got on Effexor, and I did Effexor extended release, and that worked wonderfully, where the other ones didn't do anything.
No, you go ahead.
I there was one drug, and I don't know because you guys were talking about different ones, but I don't remember if it was at the time if it was Wellbutrin, Effexor, or Cymbalta. But there was usually like with the antidepressants, take it don't really feel much. But when I started, it was one of those that first night. Like I felt like somebody drugged me. Like I felt this. Or it was like really intense. Did any of you guys get that with any of
What you're saying?
That would have been Cymbalta, probably.
Okay,
That's the kind of adverse event you get with Cymbalta because of its mechanism of action.
thank you. I'll remember to stay away from that one. Dr. James, if you were talking, you're muted.
No, I'm not talking. I'm actually just doing a little digging about something. But so
Yesterday, because I heard the same conversation yesterday, people being really critical. I agree with Sam. SSRIs are life saving. The older drugs like citalopram and some of the other antidepressants, they were even antihistamine based. I forget what it was called. Um, hydrazine or hydroxyzine. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, those things were very hit and miss and had lots and lots of side effects. So even though SSRIs take a long time to work and you have to wean yourself down, and there's these things that you have to be careful of, I think in the grander scheme of things, they work. You just have to have a patient that advocates for themselves and a doctor that knows what they're doing, and you keep trying until you hit the right, like Sam said, you hit the right cocktail.
and yeah, yes. Right now, what I'm doing is I have that meta analysis. I decided, might as well, just like everybody else does. I'm throwing it into AI, and I'm just asking it if it could rank using the name brands of the antidepressants, not the generic brands. Rank them from most efficacious to least in the study, even though the least efficacious was still better than placebo. And I just wanted to add too that, part of the issue for me that I feel like this is really kind of an important and timely issue is that we have, the head of the HHS basically trying to equate the use of, antidepressants with the use of opiates, basically saying that if you take Prozac, you might as well be on, heroin, in terms of the addiction potential. And they're just not the same. People don't typically take antidepressants to get high. They take antidepressants because they are so low and they're desperate for anything that will help them get out of that. And so, and then I think the misinformation here is that somehow they don't work. And I think we have people who are informed and educated speaking within their scope of practice right now, at least trying to give their opinions, which are still opinions, but I think they're at least a little closer to, let's just try to make sense of this thing. And I hear Indihan and Sam both saying anecdotally and professionally based on their, background of expertise, saying that there are ways that these things can be helpful. At the same time, I think a nuanced conversation would look at, so what's going wrong? And is this just propaganda, just a new way to dismantle the government? Or is this like a, my guess is that, if you've got people operating out of their scope of practice, then you could end up over prescribing something that is typically going to help. Because, if someone doesn't have access to a psychiatrist, but they've got a primary care physician, but you don't have it, you don't have, say, like behavioral medicine specialists, psychologists, you don't have psychiatric nurse practitioners, you don't have a psychiatrist. If they're the only person prescribing, then they're going to do the best with what they have, and in that sense, they would be operating within their scope of practice. But so I think that's a part that if we could figure out how to unwind that a bit in a very kind of nuanced way, that could be really interesting. But I think it's also important to just lean in on what are the facts, like what does the data show.
I think
And yeah, go ahead.
I think somebody yesterday kind of hit on the issue because these pharmaceutical companies and the government are usually pretty closely aligned, right? And so when I first started getting prescribed SSRIs, it was like 1996 or 94, I can't remember which. And they were just handing them out like candy, because the physicians get kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. But it's not, SSRIs aren't something that you can get addicted to. When they first gave it to me, I'm like, this doesn't help, this doesn't do anything. So I stopped taking it. And a lot of SSRIs suffer that non-compliance, non-adherence to schedule kind of thing.
Slow half life.
Yeah, because you have to take so long. And so what is this thing from RFK? What is it really doing? And somebody yesterday said it's probably more about the poor and Medicare and Medicaid and any sort of
Yes.
healthcare. And so they,
Economic.
pharmaceutical companies are not going to allow these politicians to take money out of their pockets. So probably they just want to get rid of the ones who aren't top-notch customers. They only want the top-notch customers where they can charge the most money. They're not going to say, oh, Medicaid is going to make you only pay 10 cents a pill for this SSRI. They don't like that. So they're going to say, let's get rid of all these poor people and then we can charge $1 per pill.
Also, the alternative solution being proposed by Kennedy are air quotes wellness farms, air quotes, okay, work camps, and getting people abstinence based. If it's abstinence based, it's probably got a 12-step model thrown in the mix, which means there's going to be a God element thrown in the mix. And, just doesn't take connecting a whole lot of dots in a kind of a quasi grounded way to see that, if you're removing Medicaid financing, people at the bottom are going to fall off, right? They're making it harder, much more difficult to remain on Medicaid or Medi-Cal. So people at the bottom are going to fall off. They're not going to have a solution. They're going to be going off meds and their substances in the next 3 years as these laws impact people. And then the solution is put them in camps and put them in farms. And that's really scary to me that this is being proposed by somebody who's not in any way medically trained. I mean, the same guy who basically says that, vaccines cause autism and whatnot. It's just, so that's a whole other dialogue, but that's also, I think, a part of the puzzle here that people maybe don't want to see or don't care to look at. And I think it's an important piece. As you said, it's like, how are we going to sort of preempt the fallout in a way that sort of fits our agenda? Is what I think.
I think the thing that's missing, I think what's happened with Kennedy is he's making conclusions based on anecdotal evidence. Not that the anecdotal evidence does not have some merit to it.
No, it doesn't. If you say that antidepressant violence,
let me finish before you
all right,
breaking in, because it's a very nuanced type of thing that I'm trying to articulate, and I'm not great at articulation. So when you disturb me like
I'm sorry,
it throws everything off.
Rick.
Okay. So
No worries.
That's right. You scared away the Muslims. Oh. We're victorious.
Like Sam was talking about, where Indigenous, I think, was talking about how they were
Rabbono Shalom, I haven't put on my tefillin yet, but I'm about to put on my tefillin. Any tips, Mixed, Caleb? I got a couple books on tefillin. Always wrap up. Wrap in. What's the difference between wrapping in and versus out?
Here's the one opinion I've heard, but I would defer to the rabbi who would probably have more insight to say. The distinction, as I heard it explained, is for the shel yad, the strap can either be tied such that it creates loops in which your arm holding the leather strap goes away from your body as it crosses the top of your arm, or comes towards your body. So you can bring the strap towards you, or you can push it away. And then the Sephardim, they push it away. They do it out. They do an outward strap wrap. And the Ashkenazim, they do an inward strap wrap. And the explanation that they say is it's whether the shel yad, whether the component of that commandment to affix to one's arm and know God's promise to care for the Jewish people and that there is only one God, whether that, the one on our arm, is meant to be a personal message towards us or an external message towards others. And as a result, the debate, the Sephardim were of the opinion that it was an outward wrap, meaning that the arm and the head were both external facing signs, whereas to the Ashkenazim, they were of the opinion that the arm was an internal personal realization of the promise, and that's why it was internal and placed to the heart and is often under our shirt, whereas the head was the external message, and thus it was meant to be a total message that spoke both externally and internally, and that's the debate between the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim, and I was suggesting that you hold with the Ashkenazim and wrap in.
I've never heard that explanation. I'd be surprised if that's like. That seems to me like
oh, it's a midrash. It's a drush.
It's a midrash that would probably already existed. Like,
well, I'll tell you this: in investigating the existing custom, that's a better question. You want to really be like honest. Go be legal. Go be anthropological. Figure out where the debate starts and why it exists at all.
My guess is that it wasn't a debate, right? Ashkenaz. It was
just accidents and then whatever.
Yeah, I think it was just probably geographical custom and some,
Could be, but at this point, it is a correctable error.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that there's error.
One word.
Even in the explanation that you gave, right? None of them are in error.
Right.
Neither of them are in error.
Just expressing different interpretations of the legal system.
Right.
Right. Which, by the way, that is relevant. The multiple ways to review the legal system. So that's partly why I think the debate gets preserved. That we should think as to whether this like strange commandment is two-part, both outward, and one is a head type and one is an arm type, which is more like Clovis Levovos. Or if you want to say instead that it's like a twofold attack going outward and inward, and then that would be a different legal construct. And I think those are interesting debates worth preserving.
So what I'm a little confused is when I look at my tefillin, if you do the outward wrap, how do you reverse the tefillin?
Pull the leather strap all the
Right.
way out.
Okay.
Any tefillin can go either way, but yeah, you'd have to unloop the thing first. Yeah.
Well,
That's
actually,
the part.
the knot is tied different.
If you want to get into it, there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos. They really help you if you want to tie your tefillin into whatever kind of shape. Like I don't hold by the square. I don't think that's true. And then go with the dollar. We can make a dollar.
I have a square.
I had a square. I changed it to a dollar because I got YouTube videos.
My father had a square, his father had a square, I had a square.
That's fair. Totally fair.
So you're saying you're a square. You know what it does remind me of is the quote in the movie Dune when the Baron meets with the head of the medical on the planet and he says to his son, he's like, "Who taught you how to tie it that way?" He goes, "Nobody. It felt natural."
That's part of it. It's experiential.
What I like about your explanation is I would think that if you tie it outward, what you're trying to do is almost in a way like push God away to be with God. And that's not a good explanation, but what you say is it's a communication to the community. My personal narcissistic attitude is thinking that it's more of like for a me thing, but
The point of tefillin is again they are signs. How they're described in the verses, they are meant to be markers. They're supposed to catch your attention and remind you of something. They are, by definition, showy, performative, and they are supposed to. It's a debate as to how they function, who they're targeted to. But yeah, they're targeted to the person wearing them and the person that sees the person wearing them, and that's by design. And I'm saying like whether you wrap in or out, that's different legal expressions of the concept. And again, if you're curious about like why have this sign, you could read it. It's a good place to start. There is text in there.
that would require work, and I did see a YouTube video on how they make tefillin, and it's just remarkable how much work. Oh my gosh. I mean it's incredibly laborious and uh but there's a lot of processes like that, in all cultures where they do like I was watching a video how they make pig skins or goat skins for wine bladders. That was incredible. I mean, imagine like and it's so clean and perfect and like it's unbelievable.
Final useful thing for whatever obscure purpose.
Yeah, have you ever seen a goat bladder for wine?
Bladders don't look that different from each other, do they?
No, it's actually the whole body of the goat. And then they like cure it and plug it and tie it and double stitch and triple. It's an incredible process to make a bladder that preserves wine. And there's only like a couple people that do it. But it used to be a big thing. But I think it's interesting how goat and wine go together in terms of like storage and preservation and fermentation, etc.
The stomach was the best theory they have for the origin of cheese.
It's not a stomach, it's the whole goat body. It's actually the skin of the goat. And when they say bladder, that's just like because it looks like a bag or something. It's not the actual bladder.
Canteen.
Exactly.
Oh, no, you're saying it's an organ. Call it an organ canteen, right? That makes sense.
All right, so like I said, I looked it up. The earliest
Oh,
halachic.
you're looking up the in and out. Good, good, good.
Yeah, okay. So the earliest halachic discussion isn't about the direction, but about the knot.
Sure, those are far more important. That's why the others fell into custom. But like,
so that was a very old custom. The source that talks about it, that's the oldest, is the Beit Yosef, who's quoting an earlier somebody named Mahari ibn Chaviv, who I've never heard of. And then it's discussed explicitly in the Bir Halacha on the Shulchan Aruch, but that's like very, very late.
Right, very late.
Very late.
Okay, so he cites it as a genuine custom. What did that guy say at the first reference to the custom?
Doesn't.
which means probably really, really, really old.
Can you find anyone that ever wrote on it for like a reason for the distinction? Because it sounds like you're saying custom, published, and then brought in, but we don't have the origin exactly.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Good question.
This is what I love about this stuff.
Are you following?
Yeah.
Are you following the Jewish guy who's rapping all these billionaires into Tefillin on Instagram? He's a Chabadnik. Yossi is his name. I can't remember his name, but
That's just like Chabad meets freaking TikTok because that's the world we live in now.
so when you say rapping in, that means the strap is coming through the hole towards you at the first rap, not
Towards you every time.
okay.
That's the Ashkenazi way.
Okay. The AI says the actual split is probably 600 to 800 years old.
Ooh. Okay. That's a main Rishonic era. That's like
all right. Here's what AI says is the rough timeline. We can trust this or not. It's a good place to start. Talmudic era, no explicit evidence of distinction. Early medieval, local variations probably emerged. By late medieval, different customs become identifiable, and then in the 16th century, the Kabbalah reinforces. Yeah, for sure, Kabbalah. Yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
right. So it's probably old, but not.
Rather go like the Talmud in Spain, but don't really get started yet.
Yeah, post Talmudic. Yeah,
very post, like post Gaonic.
It probably began around Gaon.
Gaonic might have had some things on it.
Yeah.
So do you rap on the left arm, right arm? Because on the Kabbalistic chart of like the body parts.
Your other arm.
Okay. So a left-handed writer who uses his right arm, is there any significance, in the left versus the right in terms of like good versus evil or but if you
With the weaker hand, use your.
It's a nice, simple, pragmatic, halachic answer before the Kabbalists have their way. But yeah, meaning if you're going to do the rapping, use your right hand for the rapping. Use your dominant hand to do the work, and the other arm can just sit there.
So it also has to do with, if I'm remembering, what hand you wipe your butt with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's their measure, really? They couldn't have thought of baseball. They can say you throw with, write with. They're sitting there in yeshiva writing all day. They couldn't say the finger you use to hold the place. No, wipe your butt. That one? Okay. There's a commentary there, very clearly.
Oh, yeah.
That was selected.
So I'm looking at the Amidah affirmations by Reb Zalman, and it says that the right shoulder is Gavura, to see me through trouble and lead me to redemption. The right hand is Hu. I support myself on the pillar of Hod, making order in my life, gathering all the forces from dispersion and setting them in the blessed. The left side says, I invoke the abundance of chesed to bring me atonement. And then the left hand says, Netzach, channeling to me all manner of blessing, prosperity, place it at the disposal of the redeeming Mashiach, unfolding to witness the Shekhinahs residing in Zion. The Shekhinahs residing in Zion. Ribbono Shel Olam, I got to go to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv this summer and go for a jog on the beach and see all those beautiful Shekhinahs floating around and make a chopped and tossed Shekhinah salad. Well, Rabbano Shalom. Yes, I'm here.
Going on, dude?
Nothing. I'm wrapped in tefillin.
What? One.
I'm wrapped in tefillin. You don't know what tefillin is? Oh, let me PTR it for you. Uh-oh. What are you doing today?
Working on the song.
You're what?
Working on a song.
Oh. I've made hundreds and hundreds of songs on Suno.
Yeah, nice. Doing something with my acoustic.
I've got an acoustic, an electric. I've got this weird like table guitar from Korea. I also have this like Armenian two-string guitar, but that's kind of broken, and the strings are busted. And if you put the strings in, it's hard to like tighten the peg. It won't hold because there's not enough like grip on it. And then I have a violin, uh, and I have bagpipes. So my next instrument to try to play is the bagpipes. I've got mini bagpipes. But I play the flute so much. The flute seems to me to be like a very good instrument for you know, like essentially getting good at like rhythm or flow or beats. It's like it doesn't require it's not sophisticated like a guitar, it's like complicated to play a guitar, but a flute kind of is just like the bedrock of music notes, etc. It's like a good way to branch off into other instruments. So you had a thing on there about evolution earlier, and the thing in high school that I always found annoying in AP Bio was the belief that genetic mutations are the primary one of the primary reasons for evolution. And I was always like, well, not every mutation is good. So what is it, like 51% of the mutations are good, and that's what's resulted in our chemical soup today? There's just no like maybe I could Google this or AI it, but
John,
that one part was a big assumption.
sorry, baby. You see where I'm going with this? Like, that's just like that's kind of like a funny way, or in other words, of putting it, like the whole genetic mutation thing. They can't stand when I fucking say that.
Well, it's such a big assumption, and then it's like, how do you see? We should be able to like use AI to calculate correlations between time and supposed genetic changes and special like changes, and it's just like, how can we not use AI to prove out evolution by now? Really? Hello? So the atheists who believe in this chemical physical transmutation, uh they just have no real actual evidence. You can look at the bones and that type of like historical analysis, but at some point AI should be able to prove or disprove the theory of evolution, um to a very high percentage of accuracy. Wouldn't you think? Hello?
I don't know. Go ahead. Type it in a fucking an AI model and see what you get.
Okay, let me see. How would you use AI to analyze time, genetic mutation, and correlate the probability of the theory of evolution as being highly accurate or not.
Bloody. Cat toys. I love those.
Yeah, they're space.
The analysis that it's putting out is really interesting. It's gonna take maybe 50 seconds. If we don't see some type of like breakthrough technology uh because of all this AI investment and AI platform, etc., then we'll know that like we are beyond what we are even capable of programmatically creating. Because like if we're 70 million years old of, genetic refinement, you might call it, to get consciousness into the now body that we are using a free conference call on. That's the thing about evolution and AI. It's like it still doesn't settle the debate about like what's called a soul. And so thus you get back into esoteric mysticism or, esoteric philosophy. Do you know what the difference is between esoteric and exoteric?
I didn't realize there was.
Yeah, if you ask somebody what a soul is, it's just such a complicated, vast, nothingness that it's like anything goes, really.
That's very complicated.
I like to explain it as just like light because soul is sun, so it has to basically deal with like infinity, eternity. Like, does a photon ever?
Got it.
Yeah, I could give you the definition that I can look up, but when I try to explain it myself, it's kind of, not very articulate. It's not very specific. It's not, well, even if it's a made up idea, there is a debate because this app proves, no, it does. This app, there is a debate. Sorry. No, this would be the debate. Are you in the soul or is the soul in you? That would be one way of doing it. Oh, it's not a debate. Okay. I didn't know that it wasn't a debate. I thought, because I listen to this app and I hear people debating everything and anything. Like, so to say that it's not a debate, is it your opinion it's not a debate or is it a fact? Oh, I see. Oh, well, I'm trying to understand, but I did hear you.
Right.
No, I think I'm actually pretty good at conversation. Like, I listen and talk, in an exchange, and I try. Yeah, because it's made up. So that's like saying, because if you're an atheist and you say God is just, it's not a debate, God is just made up. I mean, what's the difference between what you just said about God and the soul? Nothing.
Difference between God and the soul. They're both made up.
Got it. That's what I just said. Did you not hear what I just said to you? Maybe it's because you were over talking. Maybe it's because you were over talking me. Maybe it's because you're over talking me. Maybe it's because you're over talking me. Maybe because it's always projection with you. Maybe because you were over talking me. Maybe it's just projection. Maybe you were over talking me. Maybe it's just projection. Maybe you're just over talking me. Maybe it's just did you not take your SSRI last night with your meal? Hello?
That is.
You don't know what an SSRI is? Because I'm in another room right now called Let's Walk Together Majestic Mondays with Dr. James, and they're talking about SSRIs and how it, affected them and how supposedly how much more happy they are. But, in this room, we've discussed God and things related to God and the things that people do. But in Dr. James's room, they're talking about Robert F. Kennedy and his campaign for de-prescribing antidepressants. And they have such a hatred for Kennedy. They think he's the fucking devil. And these people don't even believe in God. But Kennedy is so close to being the devil because his narrative and his opinions differ so much from Dr. James. And so, what I'm saying is, if you're a hardcore atheist and you happen to meet somebody who's like, God is the greatest thing ever, God is real, God is here right now listening to this conversation. I speak with God. God speaks with me. You might say that person is delusional. But I would just say maybe they're actually just, kind of in a way bullshitting you. And you might be going along with it and even entertaining their bullshit. But that's a you choice to engage in that communication. It's totally, your choice. That's the thing about Clubhouse is there is a leave button. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to answer any questions. There's no requirement for compliance in a virtual simulator experiment known as a conference call called Clown House. So,
Without a difference there.
that's what you keep saying. Distinction without difference. And then you say it means nothing. It's almost like you can't hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Because oh, you heard everything? And you were over talking me so many times and then reminding me how I was over talking you. What are we even talking about? What is the point of this open discussion?
Did you get lost, John?
I'm right back where I started in my office, surrounded by books, and then I keep saying, "Oh, for every 100 people out there, one book is worth at least 100 people."
What does that mean?
It means that people's opinions are worth so much less than the audiobook that I would prefer to be enjoying than maybe listening to some of the people on here. Okay, let's get back to what we were talking about using AI to analyze time scales, genetic mutations, and to assess the consistency and thus high accuracy of the theory of evolution involves a rigorous data driven pipeline. This leverages machine learning, statistical modeling, simulations, and probabilistic inference. The theory of evolution by natural selection and common descent makes specific, testable predictions about how mutations accumulate over time in lineages, predictions that can be quantified and correlated against massive genomic datasets. AI excels here because genomes contain billions of data points, and evolutionary processes are stochastic, yet patterned, e.g., neutral mutations accumulating like a molecular clock, modulated by selection. Here's the step by step methodology I, as an AI, would use grounded in established biological tools and techniques. This is not speculative. Similar approaches are already used in phylogenomics, population genetics, and AI accelerated bioinformatics via tools like transformers for DNA sequences or Bayesian phylogenetic software. Number one, data collection and pre-processing AI-driven integration. Gather inputs on time, mutations, and genomes. Query genomic databases, the NCBI GenBank, Ensemble, and 1000 Genomes Project for whole genome sequences across species. Extract fossil calibrated divergence times from paleontology databases and direct mutation rate estimates from pedigree/trio sequencing studies. Use NLP and data mining, large language models, or specialized extractors. Scan scientific literature to compile mutation rates, generation times, and divergence estimates. Handle uncertainty by building probabilistic datasets, i.e., distributions rather than point values. Key variables modeled time, t, geological fossil divergence times in years or generations. Mutation rates, per base pair per generation rate, typically 1 to 1.3 times 10 to the negative eighth for humans from direct sequencing. Genetic divergence, observed substitutions, indels, or structural variants between orthologous sequences. AI pre-processing, aligned sequencing using tools like MAFT, M-A-F-F-T, or AI-enhanced aligners. Filter for neutral sites less affected by selection and normalize for genome size. 3 times 10 to the ninth BP in humans. 2. Modeling mutation accumulation over time, molecular clock analysis. Core equation, neutral theory prediction. Under a simple molecular clock, expected genetic divergence between two lineages is D equals 2 times whatever, I can't remember that symbol's name is, times G. Like it's like M times G. This is a Poisson process. Mutations occur randomly at rate M per generation, or it's like macro or something, rate macro per gen. Poisson. AI enhancements, train regression or neural network models, Gaussian process regression or LSTM, divided by transformer-based time series models to correlate observed D from genome alignments with calibrated T across hundreds of species pairs. Account for rate heterogeneity. Use relaxed clock models via Beast software, accelerated by AI optimization. Oh, wow, Beast software, where M varies by lineage, gene, or time due to generation time changes or environmental factors. Incorporate selection. Use machine learning, deep learning models like those in Alpha Mesensi to predict deleterious versus neutral mutations. Then focus analysis on neutral sites for clock-like behavior. Number 3, simulation of evolutionary dynamics, forward and backward modeling. Monte Carlo / agent-based simulations. Use population genetics simulators implementable in Python with numpy / scipy or libraries like MS Prime to evolve virtual populations forward in time under realistic parameters. Start with ancestral sequences. Apply mutations at rate macro. Apply drift / selection. And track divergence after G generations. AI optimized simulations. Reinforcement learning or genetic algorithms tune parameters, macro, selection coefficients to match observed data. Generative AI diffusion models on sequence space can simulate plausible evolutionary trajectories. Scale it up. Run thousands of simulations in parallel to generate distributions of expected D for given T and macro. Compare to real data via summary statistics. There's a lot. There's maybe a bit too much more to read. I'll just read the head titles. Statistical correlation and probability inference. Number 4, hypothesis testing. Next is concrete example, correlating human-chimp divergence. Toy calculation can run via code. Structural differences. Next one is overall conclusion from such AI. Let me just read the overall conclusion. The theory of evolution, highly accurate, supported at the 99.9999999% confidence level in terms of data model fit across all tested predictions. Mutation accumulation over deep time precisely matches observed genetic patterns under common descent and natural selection. Alternatives, independent mutation without shared ancestry. Fail likelihood tests dramatically. AI doesn't prove evolution in a philosophical sense, but makes the quantitative evidence irrefutable by processing data at scales impossible for humans alone, revealing patterns like conserved centenny, shared pseudogenes, and timed molecular clocks that are exactly as predicted. If you'd like me to run a specific simulation via Monte Carlo mutation accumulation and code, analyze a particular species pair, or dive deeper into any step with real datasets, just provide the details. This pipeline is fully executable with current AI tools. So the thing that I like about the summary is it says AI does improve evolution in a philosophical sense. Yeah. So this is where philosophy is really like it's the super troll. It is trolling in a way because there's something wrong with the Socratic method, meaning it's really an inferior form of communication because trying to fish out like people's internal biases or prejudices or lack of logic, etc. Like you're that's really not efficient. Like that is pre-internet, pre-AI. So really the Socratic method is dead. And people on this app, that is their fundamental form of communication because they really are lazy and lack all they don't read anything. What I just did right now by reading this to you is more work than 99.99999% of people will do on this app today. It's all just entertainment chatter and it's deplorable. And that's why, as a Republican, Libertarian, conservative, when we are called deplorable by Hillary Clinton and those types of people who don't read books, because even Hillary Clinton, there was a picture of her on an airplane playing a Game Boy, and I wrote, she doesn't even read books. And you wouldn't believe the comments and the hate that came my way just by making that comment about Hillary Clinton. I got every single detail you could ever know about how intelligent Hillary Clinton was. Her college, her degree, her classes, her book, everything. They immediately came to Hillary's defense. So these are my morning statements. Whoa!
The whole time I was thinking that you were reading that is, first of all, that's an interesting afternoon of experimentation for me using my AI harness. I'm not sure I would use Beast. I would probably not. I'd probably use something. I'd probably just roll my own evolutionary framework. But then, like, you spoiled it. You got to the end and you just arrived at the conclusion. It's like, no, I wanted to actually derive the conclusion using the methodology that you were describing. You kind of spoiled it there.
Well, it's a little bit, too much to read. Just a little bit too much. Do you want the link?
Or you spoiled it. Like, you told me how the movie ends.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It all seemed pretty logical to me. I guess the thing that confuses me that it doesn't really touch on is like I want more detail. I guess I could ask again about genetic mutation because Regal here makes a snide comment when he says, so how does one R word baby make another R word baby? Because it's like that's not necessary because we're talking about large numbers and huge populations with averages, and there's going to be the bell-shaped curve no matter what. So I guess what I'm saying is if we came from a common ancestor that uh like how like I guess is religion saying that like when we came out of the trees that was like the enlightenment, that was the receiving of the law, like a higher level of intelligence is forming within the herd. So the herd expresses this higher level intelligence by giving it x variable g, which is God, because there's like it's the herd is trying to express what it's calling intelligence, because I am correlating God with the highest levels of intelligence. And so I'm just saying, like, if you're an atheist, this is one way to understand how the group or population is expressing itself, by using maybe non-scientific mathematical terms. Does that make sense? Hello?
Yeah, John, what do you think of this graph? Is it kosher? Is it gonna break resistance?
I don't know, man. Charting, I think is we've talked. I think haven't you and I talked about charting and how it's kind of ridiculous in a way, because yeah, charting is like artwork and it doesn't actually tell you the real situation, and people make all these inferences from charts that aren't accurate to the real situation internally at the company. And so it can trick you. Charts are a great way of getting you to make false assumptions and take action just based off of a picture, which is not dynamic. It's static in its time frame. So a chart picture by definition is already inaccurate from the consumer's perspective of trying to make an informed decision, if that makes any sense. You're already behind the time curve when you're looking at a chart. But this is an open discussion. T, let me ask you something about like emotional intelligence. Do you think that like you are your own worst enemy? Because to me, you're highly reactive and extremely emotional. Now, you might get offended even at that statement. But what I'm trying to get at is that the brain is fully automated to respond emotionally, whether you like it or not. But in my opinion, if you read, Marcus Aurelius or other books on wisdom, it kind of helps develop your personality a little bit to where you're maybe not an emotionally reactive person. You're not highly annoyed by other highly annoying people. Because I think that is the big understanding and takeaway from all these books. I think the Bible deals with emotional intelligence because, it takes intelligence to consume that book, to read it, to focus, to concentrate on it. So it's all about personality development, self-development, and I'm just wondering if you think perhaps, you know, your personality could use some fine tuning.
And yeah, Rabbi, I was definitely looking at that moving average convergence divergence. I was seeing the momentum change, and I'm wondering. I don't think that looks like a shift towards resistance. I think that looks like support bottoming out there. So I'm not sure where I would go with that.
Interesting. Well, I saw the candle, and then I saw that that's where pretty much where the bears kind of lost or something. The guys are trying to short it. Then I'm seeing the momentum on the two different MACDs, and I see I changed the dates on them on one of them, and one is starting to converge, and the other one is starting to get close to the other one before the conversion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you might see a small, towards 1320, 1330, because that's where resistance has been historically in the past couple of days. But the breakthrough on support under 812 is the really concerning signal there. I think what you'll see is the MACD is signaling that we're going to see a turnaround back to 13. And then if we go back to 12, we could go below 12. And that's what I'm seeing.
Makes sense. This is one of these, one of them that I track. I track this CRML, and then I jump into the double leverage right when it looks like it's turning around.
And John, it sounds like you just don't understand the nature of technical analysis. They actually are self-fulfilling prophecies. Like if you take any Fibonacci-based retracement, there are thousands of traders who are actively programming their bots on those resistance and support lines. And so if the bots actually do trigger on those support and resistance lines, the money actually does trick around at those price points.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not a programmer and I'm a dumb person, so I just base everything off of intuition. And be great if I had a better education and my brain wasn't so R-worded out. Um, if there was just only more time and patience, perhaps I could have become smart enough to have figured out how to fully automate trading and, become a hedge fund manager and live my best life. It's very sad that I have to come here and listen to R word conversations by R word people all day and record them and put them on YouTube because I can't figure out how to actually create automation in my life. And this is like my failed attempt at trying to be intelligent. But unfortunately, all I've done is like created ill will towards myself. And I fully believe in personal responsibility and, essentially accepting whatever consequences there might be for recording people wasting all their time all day long, espousing their political propaganda and their hate for Kennedy. But I don't know. Maybe it's not a me problem at the end of the day. Maybe it's like a societal problem, but yet I was still raised like in a caste system to continue to put down the indigenous and immigrant communities in this country. I don't know. Is it my conditioning or is it a me problem? Is it the environment? How would you analyze John Kitover T?
They watched a meme, a soundbite on Twitter or something, and they, well, I got this thing. I understand it. It's like I don't go into a physics room and do that. I go in there and I just listen.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
You know, like I trust if someone says that they're informed on this thing, that they
see,
probably.
this is the thing about anon mode that like you're not really seeing from like a psychological perspective. You can literally, it's like being behind the glass mirror and watching people on a stage do their thing, which is like their pure personality, their pure character or lack thereof. And the wild bad takes and the actually homicidal fascism within each liberal intellectual. Generally, they are elite gay intellectual liberal Democrats, that we can observe here on this app. And to me, I would just, now that I really know just how horrible people are, when I look at politicians who we supposedly elect and represent us, I know that within them, they're the same shitty people that we witness here on Clubhouse. And that's to me why I'm fighting back and, risking it all and putting my good name out there to fight what I consider clown world. And yeah, honk honk, welcome to clown world, where everything is upside down. There's no such thing as fiscal responsibility. Uh, Exactly. That's all it is. Honk honks and hellos. That's it. Highly emotional, highly reactive, fully automated, elite, liberal, gay Democrat brains. I give you Ben.
1.3 plus or minus 0.1 bar with a flow rate of 200 to 230 milliliters per minute.
Isn't it interesting how like people give, the 230 milliliters? It's like from the listener's perspective, what does like the actual numbers of these measurements really do for us here on this app right now? Like I think people are primarily talking just to get the dopamine response. And the problem is, from the listener perspective, we want someone who gives us the dopamine as a listener, but informs us, fills our brain with new things. Like I read to you about uh, evolutionary genetics today, and there were English terms in there that I had never heard before. That was essentially me creating a new neural network in my brain to make me smarter. But that's not what people on this app are doing. Exactly. It's all hellos and honks. Now we go back to Dr. James.
Late 80s, popularized in the West Coast, Los Angeles, by way of some UK ravers, was putting your MDMA up the bum.
MDMA up the why MDMA up the bum is probably a topic you'd be interested in, CM.
Have your moments of like honesty. It's fascinating. I don't know. Sometimes it's like maybe you should write a book.
Dude, I live Joanna and I are actually publishing a book, but it's not about the book. It's really about the live experience. People don't understand that like I am live on YouTube every time you hear my voice. There is no way that I would be creating sounds with my body unless I was recording it. It would be pointless for me to be speaking without recording it. It would just be like me in a black hole talking to myself. What would be the point of that? Hello?
What is the point? Nobody's gonna ever watch that.
I know nobody's even if nobody watches it. What's the downside then of even doing it? You see what I'm saying? There's like no reason not to do it. Hello?
Wasting electricity and
Wasting electricity. Well, that's my point.
Towards, and instead you're doing the clubhouse thing, right?
What do you mean do the experiment with AI? I'm not gonna do what that fucking prompt is talking about. Because it was just an intellectual curiosity about genetic mutation and what I learned in fucking high school AP biology.
Your exact complaint was that most people on Clubhouse aren't going to do the work. They're not going to put in the effort.
My work was reading it. My work was
that they're just gonna go as far as reading it and not do it. Wasn't that your
No, my complaint was that people don't even read it. Not that they won't do it, but they don't even read it. Yes.
You actually took 5 minutes to read.
See, the thing is, if I read about it, I've determined that I wouldn't want to do it. Exactly. No. What was the word that I had difficult pronunciating? Not poisson. It was poisson. Poisson.
Scientist. You mean and that's it looks like poison, right?
So Joanna. Yeah. Yep. I agree. Look at my PTR. I'm now Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
I don't know. I think I look better than Andrew Tate, actually. But maybe because Andrew Tate is emblazoned on everybody's psyche for some reason. Women. One girl at a bar a couple months ago, she's like, "Have you ever met Nick Fuentes?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "He's over there." And I'm like, "That's Nick Fuentes?" I'm like, "That's not Nick Fuentes." She's like, "That's Nick Fuentes, and I really want to talk to him." I was like, "Well, do you want me to go introduce you to your imaginary fake Nick Fuentes?" She's like, "No, I'm so nervous." And I was like, "That's not Nick Fuentes. Look up the picture and look at that guy." And she's like, "Oh, you're right. That isn't Nick Fuentes." But that was like the one in a million girls who actually, was like sexually intrigued by Nick Fuentes.
I'll tell you why later.
What was he saying?
not like out of this room. Like you guys seem to like occupy a similar I don't know. One on the internet.
No, he's got his own. I don't know if my audience is really all incel. I do have people texting me from the political campaigns that I've run, and just this morning, somebody was texting me about censorship and how they appreciate me like calling it out. Um, but I did have over 100 people vote for me in the congressional election as a write-in candidate. I got 1% of the vote, or less than 1% of the vote. But Rabbanu Shalom, you have to build your tribe somehow, some way, your audience. Then it's a question of how do you activate your audience? And the whole thing really comes down to money, because you can buy audiences on Meta and on Google. And, that's the advantage of having money. And if you are a business that has, annual profits or lack thereof, you still have a quarterly and annual advertising budget. And as a former Google account manager who managed over $30 million a year in spend on Google ads, on YouTube ads, there's a lot of money in advertising communication. And the craziest thing about advertising communication is, I heard somebody talking about this the other day on YouTube, like from the 60s, McLuhan or something. He was like, in the future, the advertisements will only confirm your bias and make you feel good about your prior purchasing decision. It's not actually about getting you to buy new product. It's about confirming your previous purchase. And also just being the product itself, where the advertisement is the product and the brand, and it's all just about like neurolinguistic programming and dopamine creation. So all communication is indeed hypnosis. And if just turn your television on and watch The Price is Right or Let's Make a Deal, and you can actually see how advertisement communication is one of the most dominant forms of communication in our societal herd population. And I have successfully done advertising myself, for the publishing industry. And Joanna and I are writing in a book, and I hope, that we can do a summer book tour.
Ebooks published on Kindle, Amazon. This will be 4.
But we're going to do a book on meditation, neurolinguistic programming, and dialectic therapy. That's called reading a book. It's not revolutionary, it's not new, but as someone who read on Clubhouse today, I am in the top 1%, and that's a fact. Very few people have read anything of any value or substance on Clubhouse today. And tomorrow, even less. So we are living in a society where only less than 1% of the population even picks up a book and regularly reads something that is outside of their push down communication paradigm.
It's weird that you put so much value on just reading random bullshit, right? Like that's somehow valuable. Like you just pick up a book and read it. That's actually valuable.
It's valuable in comparison to listening to woke, liberal, elitist homosexuals on this app. Let's put it that way. Or elite black homosexual intellectual Democrats. You see what I'm saying? Hello?
Yeah.
Well, see, it's just my opinion. It's not a fact what I'm saying. I mean, you know the difference between opinions and facts, right?
No, I never learned that in school.
See, the secret about learning what the differences between facts and opinions are is that there's actually no such thing as a fact. There's only opinions. Hello?
Anyway, nice to see you, T. I haven't seen you in a while.
Good to see you, Joey.
Thank you. I love you. And isn't it like good to read, even if it's not like anything important? The act of reading, isn't that like good for you, for your brain cells? It's like doing a crossword puzzle.
Well, I think that we can quantify these things better, right? Like reading a physics book is probably going to be of slightly higher intellectual value than reading a romance novel, right? That's the point that I'm making there.
I got it. It's better than reading smut. How often do you get to use the word smut?
Not often enough.
Thank you. That's funny. I think it's an outdated word. You have to be over 40 to even have heard of it. Maybe.
I just heard of it recently with these like smut romance novels.
Yeah. Oh, you heard of it? Now you heard it again.
It's a brand new word, like probably this year.
That's funny. Sometimes you hear something and then you hear it again. How's the little kitten doing? Let me see his picture.
He's doing amazing.
So, CM&T, I got a question for you. Do you think you are what you say you are, or do you think you are what you do?
Aristotle answered that already.
Yeah, I think you are what you do. Like, for example, I'm a programmer. And the reason that I say that is I can point you at my GitHub, right?
That is indeed Aristotle. You are what you do.
You're a lot of other things too, like you're a writer, and I don't know what the website would be considered, but yeah, I guess you're a writer of the story that's on a website. So it's
Which one? Horizon
City is interactive with the reader.
I'm sorry, I have so many websites at this point. Yes, this week I published 14 white papers on post language semantics, and gosh, I mean the topics were really fucking deep, like really like deep topics. I'm really excited about the work that's done. So I was thinking, like, oh, are you talking about nefarious plan? That's where I've been published.
I published a white paper and a policy paper. No, I used AI, Meta, and the first comment was, next time you use AI to generate a policy paper, you should probably remove the AI software you used and not say that you wrote it. And my response to that is, you didn't address anything and any of the topics in the paper. And so what's interesting is when you run in politics, you are attacked personally 100% of the time, and you are never actually spoken to or communicated with about what your opinions are, or what topics or policies or content you've even created. It's always ad hominem. And so ad hominem hypnosis, or ad hominem filibustering, or filibustering hypnosis, I think that's what the biggest problem is see, Regal here has open discussion. That means you could talk about anything. But the problem with focus and concentration is it's a filibuster against priorities. And that's my biggest complaint against the elite liberal, homosexual, Democrat liberals, is that it's always focus manipulation, concentration manipulation. And that's what I really hate the most, is because part of intelligence is prioritization. Wouldn't you agree? Hello?
I lost the question. Wouldn't I agree to what? It's very lengthy.
So here's a paper you won't read, John. The 17th, wait, it was 17 that I published, actually. I just posted it in the chat here, and
Okay.
I'm betting you won't read this. You're gonna read it, Joanna?
Let me click on it. Let me see. Oh. Okay. After Babel, we speak in vectors. That's it?
That's the one, and it's a very sophisticated paper. What it effectively argues is that I have developed a universal language for programming, such that all languages can be translated to and from it. And what this does is this allows us to port any language to any other language through my universal language.
He went further than the dream. Around 1679, he proposed characteristic numbers like this. Feels good on the brain. It's tickling my brain, T.
I mean, he did something really cool, right? He said, assign a prime to each primitive concept, right? And since there's an infinite number of primes, there must be an infinite number of concepts that you can address, right? And then let those composite concepts be the products of the primes of the primitives numbers, and let S's P hold exactly when the number of S is equal by the number of P. And the entailment becomes divisible, right? It's a primitive by a computed value. And that's identity is the primitive by computed value. And that's what my entire software pipeline runs on. Is it runs on content identities that close over the values and compress them down into a bounded space where you can address them as vectors. And so all programming languages become addresses in vector space. And they all point at the same vector, they point out the same address, and they mean the same thing, right? So an if statement in Java is an if statement in C, is an if statement in C#, is an if statement in C++, is an if statement in Python. They all point at the same vector address in my scheme.
Cool.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But what that means is that I've used math to prove that I can solve for all programming languages and make them universal for the first time in history.
Wait, you can prove it or AI can prove it?
I proved it using the math. It's right there on the paper.
So would you allow me to submit your paper to Grok AI for analysis on
Right.
well, let me get a link. That's your link there. Let me do this for you. See what Grok because the cool thing
I went through the 17th paper. The 17th paper builds on 13th and 14th. So the math is introduced and then generalized in the 17th paper.
have you run it through AI?
Yeah, AI is quite shocked at what it is that I'm actually doing here, and that I have the receipts for it. Like, it's not just like writing the paper is one thing. Having the code base that actually does it is quite another, and that's what this code base is.
Well, what I'm gonna do is just ask for contradictions, contrarian statements, and what is this missing?
Right.
Having some technical difficulties here. But that's one of the coolest things I think about Grok is just it will analyze links to like PDFs, docs, whatever. And as long as you have the link, it will give you the analysis. But I can't actually do it on this phone. It's not working. Therefore, I'm not going to do it for you. Unfortunately, it will not be happening because now my clubhouse is frozen.
Yeah, and so the reason that I stand by this paper is backed by. It's one thing to say it in prose. It's quite another to show it language after language, time after time, receipt after receipt, over and over and over again in code, demonstrated right there in the repo. And so that's what that repo is. You can argue with the math, but the code works, right?
Is this like linguistics or like mathematized or something?
Yeah, it's linguistics for super programming, right? It's the idea is you can lift all programming languages into a vector space, and that vector space actually points at the same address when the closure is the same, when the algebra is the same in the language, right? So an if statement in any language points at the same vector space in my programming language, which means that my programming language is a universal programming language that we can use to port between languages.
And more or less how AIs work, like LLMs, but they kind of like embed language and vector space.
Right. And the insight came from how AIs work. But what I do is I'm not using a probabilistic model. I'm using solvers. I'm using there's not a single random number in the entire fucking project. Every single thing is based on this idea that determinism is king.
And where does the regular LLMs use like a random number generator? Like, isn't it just being embedded in a vector space? Like each word,
No,
like a norm.
Every time you do an inference, you're passing in a seed which is seeding the random number generator. And then your temperature is doing a selection. So usually your temperature is like, pretty high, right? So you're only going to take like, the top 1% of available options. But even the top 1% of available options is still a plurality. And so that's where the random number generator comes in. And so the temperature is just going to like lower the selection towards the most high. And that's why if you lower the temperature all the way to 0, you'll get a deterministic output, right? But if you lower the temperature, what you're doing is you're saying we can allow some randomness in each selection, right? And then each random selection in turn leads to a completely new inference on each token because of the way that it works. So each seed and temperature pair is a random walk through the LLM. And so that's why you get a different response from the LLM every time. Is behind the scenes they're passing in a different seed every time, and it's seeding the random number generator that's doing the selection.
Okay, let me read to you.
Vectors than order. And this kind of probabilistic thing is fit for the
What you get back is you get back from the output, you get back to a vector space, right? And that vector space points at multiple addresses. And so what you want to do is you want to say, some of those vectors are going to be ranked very high, right? They have a high probability. Some of those vectors are ranked very low, and that's what the machine is outputting. Is outputting, 99% on this vector, 64% on this vector, 32% on that vector. And so, with a high temperature, we're just going to go with the 99 every time, right? But if you have 4 or 5 that are around 99, that's where the random generator comes in. And because the vector space is so drastically large, that's how you get a different response every time from the LLM. So if you type in the same prompt, the same LLM, you'll get a different response every time, unless you go in and you set the seed and the temperature to the same thing. So it's temperature to 0, seed to the same thing. You'll get the same walk through the LLM. You'll get the same exact output from the LLM every single time. It's turning off the random number generator, right?
Okay, I put the link in for the grok analysis. These are there's further insight and then contrary opinions and context. It says skeptics of universal semantics. Many in PL theory argue semantics are relative to models and institutions. Gauguin are cited approvingly, but full pluralism persists. Not all computation fits neatly into one algebra. Interactive versus reactive systems and probabilistic programs. Practical programmers. It works in practice. C Python ecosystems often trumps formal unification. Content addressing adds indirection. Most prefer human readable names and local builds. Alternatives. Unison realizes parts of this content addressed code. Other approaches include semantic versioning, package registries, dependent types, proof assistance, lean, calc, or ML based embeddings for similar code, contrasting the paper's exact hashes. Philosophical pushback. Frege and Kripke distinctions are debated. Rigid designators via hashes assume perfect canonical forms which embed modeling choices. Borges's library metaphor fits the vastness but highlights incomprehensibility without good signposts. Then it goes on to further insight.
Yeah, let me respond. So first of all, yes, that's correct, and that's why we allowed the algebra to float, because if not 0 and if are in fact different forms, and so they cannot be unified, right? And that's just like a consequence of the form, and so that addresses the first thing is not all of them fit in the same algebra. Correct. They all fit in the same universal space of different algebras, right? And then what was the second thing you said was that they, we prefer human canonicalization. That's the whole point of the ORM, of the ORP rather, the Object Realizer Protocol, is to drop from vector space back down into human language space, right? And so that's the whole point, is not to actually write code in vector space, but to translate code through vector space. And as far as oh gosh, what was that last one that you cited? That was actually an important one. I agree. And what we are doing is we're pinning the actual model. We're saying these are all of the assumptions. These are all of the, we have the order in terms of arity. We have the terms in terms of the algebra. We have the contracts in terms of first order logic. And we have the strict ordering over all of them in terms of the bridging, right? The linker, right? And so that really does capture everything that a programming language might want to express. All programming languages are universal in this way and can be formalized in this way. And so I agree with everything it's saying, and I'm just going to bite the bullet on all of those, right?
So what are the consumer applications from this, I guess, reframe?
Yeah, the frictionless cross-language reuse, automatic LSP enforcement at ecosystem scale, content address proofs it has as first-class artifacts, and reduced dependency hell is actually just saying like an end to supply chain attacks in general, right? Because and what's more is it's eliminating the need for standardization, because standardization now travels as a proof with the object, right? The code can sign for the compiler that built it. The compiler that built the code can sign for the CPU architecture. The CPU architecture can sign for the physics paper that it's based on, and the physics paper that it's based on can sign for the quantum mechanics that allowed the physics to exist, right? And by the way, the in fact, if realized part, that's the rest of the code base. The rest of the code base is dedicated to over and over and over in different languages realizing it.
So it makes you talking about hashtags, or is that like some type of other reference to something else?
Hashtags. Hashes are the content addressable vector space that I'm working in.
The hashes. So, well, I was going to talk about how Elon Musk hates hashtags, but I get it. But the thing about hashtags is there was this one like multi-billion-dollar startup. It was called, damn, can't remember it anymore, but it was like the first like large hashtag website. Um, and so all I'm trying to say is Elon Musk hates hashtags because basically you can use hashtags like in a subversive way. Like Adrian Dittman is his pen name. And so if you use the Adrian Dittman hashtag, like you can ascribe or assign content which is not flattering to Adrian Dittman. So I'm just saying that there are people that want to get rid of like secondary communication like paradigms or ways to communicate in order to shut down dissent or criticism. And it's amazing how you can actually like emotionally impact the biggest oligarch or billionaire on the planet, Elon Musk. And you can actually listen to him literally on Clubhouse, meaning that he's on X Spaces every Friday, Saturday night talking underneath Adrian Dittman. And if I challenge you to listen to Adrian Dittman on X, because when you listen to him, you'll realize, oh my God, this is the richest man on the planet, and he sounds like your average everyday Clubhouse user schmuck. How is this guy worth 800 billion, leading Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, like as the CEO? See, a CEO today is really not like what a former CEO was like in the hierarchy structure. Now you have all these doctors and executives and like it's a huge smorgasbord of an organization, so big and vast. It's really in the same way that you exist in conjunction, to your federal, state, and local government and all the corporations. It's micro, macro, but when you have 800,000 employees, that is literally like its own country in a way. It's a very unique herd of individuals working towards, quarterly revenue growth and achieving, core responsibilities and operations. Anyways, I only brought it up because of the word hash, and there's other things that the word hash is associated with, not just software and development. And, if you're a doctor of science, and you are a computer software engineer and you understand all this complex coding language, well, I want to see some breakthroughs. I used AI this morning as a layman to look up topic materials that I have no interest in. But T here, amazing. This is how the universe works, is it connects you with what you're actually looking for randomly. But it's not necessary. I don't think it's random. I think it's, not just mere coincidence. But T, what do you think about that? That like, how did you walk into, well, it's really because Regal had the title about mutation and genetic evolution, or just evolution versus God or something like that. But
I mean, I know Regal, right?
no, I get it. But I'm saying, don't you find it interesting that this is like what your white paper? Oh no, it actually has nothing to do with your white paper. You're a fucking software developer, right?
He's a coder.
It is a breakthrough. If that's what you're interested in, then you have found a breakthrough.
I know, but I asked you, what are the commercial applications of this?
Oh, goodness. Um, Software correctness as a industry is a huge deal, right? For the first thing that comes to mind is simply being able to audit software and prove that it doesn't have bugs in it in a completely automated way without using AI. And the way that it does that is using by porting the code into a language space that can be analyzed by any solver. And then once we've done that, we can just charge to certify, right? But then that brings up like the next level above that is become a certification house. And so like I'm becoming a one-man certification team just, in my bedroom, right? And the reason I'm able to do that is I'm able to just start publishing signed witnesses of entire scopes of language libraries like, C++ or the C standard library, right? And say, look, this is my one man audit of it, right? And so being able to like, literally take apart any software, find any bugs in it, exploit them in a completely automated fashion, you know, red hat engineering, red teams and blue teams would be the next obvious thing that I could go into. Um, Supply chain automation would be another one that you could very easily make a lot of money in. Any one of these things are the type of thing that anybody could download the repo and build a business around right now.
So do you think you could compress that into one sentence? And what would you name the company?
My software breaks existing software, and I'd name the company Aztec Astronomy.
Well, I don't know about Aztec astronomy, like if that's really, I think software break or something to that extent to where you know what your software does.
Watch the movie Sneakers with Robert Redford.
Mm.
In it, they were up against an opponent, and the name of the company was Aztec Astronomy. And what they figured out was that if you rearrange the letters Aztec Astronomy, what it actually means, what it actually spells out is too many secrets.
Wait, where did it see?
If you rearrange the letters, it says too many secrets.
AFC.
Wow.
It spells, and then if you rearrange letters, it spells too many.
Wow. I love code like that.
For my groups, there's too many secrets.
Mm.
Wait, but Aztec has a Z in it, right?
ASTDH.
Oh, Aztec with an S?
Yeah.
That is cool stuff.
And that's what my software proves. Is my software proves that there's too many secrets, because it makes all languages and all bugs in all languages opaque, and it's about to break shit in really big ways when the right people get their hands on it.
I mean, is it fair to say that it's like a hacker software?
Yeah, it's more than a hacker software. It's like the nuclear weapon of hacker software.
All right, I'm reporting this conversation to the FBI. I'm sorry, bro. It's now my look at CM got a kick out of that. Well, I've corresponded with Cash Patel and reported multiple clubhouse rooms for potential, terrorist activity. Yeah, they did it. They did a knock and greet. The former head of the FBI or the Department of Justice, Rod Rosen, I think his name was. He was at some kind of like Bloomberg like conference or something about technology and law enforcement, and he said like he did like a Freudian slip, and he's like, we can backdoor any cell phone anytime we want. Um, so like there is no such thing as like cell phone security. I mean, if they want in your phone, they can get in your phone. It's and download everything that's in it. So there's no security or privacy. And so I'm just wondering, like, like, can you use your software to essentially get into people's cell phones?
What's more is you would use it to break iOS. You'd use it to find a 0-day exploit in iOS, just with a couple of keystrokes and maybe a half hour of work, right?
Hey, you can break into mine.
Not just somebody's iPhones, but all the iPhones.
I have a lot of
Right.
Wasn't that like a thing? Oh, this is like 10 years back. There's this case. There's like an actual terrorist that they caught. They couldn't get his phone. He had iOS, and so now didn't like the government like force Apple to like add a backdoor or something? Because
Yeah, and what this does is this finds those backdoors in a completely automated way, in a way that's really quite scary.
I thought the government forced them to make a backdoor, so
they did, because 10 years ago this didn't exist. I just invented it.
Well, I'm not talking about finding backdoors. I'm saying like thought they already like Apple had to add a backdoor in case the government like forced
They couldn't find one.
Yeah, they couldn't. Well,
Exactly. Yeah,
but I thought Apple built one. Like
they did. They were forced to. Yeah. Yeah. No, this found. I pointed this at the Linux kernel. It found 14 different root exploits right off the bat. All that's required is local access.
sure John is very interested. Right?
No, I mean, I'm thinking like, I'm always thinking about how would you package this and sell this as like a SaaS to consumers or something, or to, law enforcement, or the government. And, the truth is these types of hacks are already out there and lots of companies are making lots of money doing it. And so that's why I say, like, to claim that you've discovered and created something when, in my opinion, all you've actually done is hypnotize us, through a conference call about nothing, and we're all going to go on our way after this call. I would just encourage you to, I'm going to go to your website. What is it? Horizon City. Is there anything about your research or anything that I can?
Link you to the actual research. And that's what I'm saying is like, I've said this several times now. It would be nothing if it weren't a repo full of code demonstrating it in reality.
Mhm. Well, I like to think that Clubhouse could be used for actual business relationships, launching businesses, um, actually running the business on Clubhouse, meaning like it's like total supervision in terms of like how people are spending their time in the shared collective corporation. I bought an AI wearable that has recording, AI story mode, and audio recording. It's called Loki. You can look it up, Looki. And the app is incredible. It creates storyboards for you, suggestions, analysis on your life. It's an incredible product. And it costs over $200. And I would consider it one of the coolest gadgets in my arsenal of gadgets. And so I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't have much faith that people will ever use Clubhouse productively, whether that's education, or business management. But technically, I said to somebody yesterday that in the future, everybody will wear, um, an AI wearable, and technically, what the police are wearing with these body cams. I think eventually society will actually require everyone to wear a body cam, and privacy will be completely eliminated, even more so than it already is, and it will be expunged completely because of security and because of really, uh what's coming down the line. And yeah,
That's just dystopia.
it's not dystopia, it'll be total credibility in how people are spending their time, because Clubhouse proves from an observational perspective that people are wasting all their time,
Yeah.
all the time. Well, actually, have you seen George Lucas's film THX 1138?
I know of it. I think I watched it. I was really high and I don't remember it, but I know that weird dystopia.
Well, it's a completely controlled society, and it's all done through medication and programming. Yeah, let me get you the link. But what's so amazing is that, like, the two genders unite, man and woman, and they wake up from their somnambulance, from their sleepwalking. And I think a lot of people on this app are sleepwalking. But
It's like Black Mirror.
I think you're back to projecting now.
Back to what?
He's back to projecting now.
Projecting.
yeah, CM, you're hot micing. Sounds horrible.
What are you doing? Guess what I'm doing, T?
What are you up to, Joanna?
I'm crocheting a beautiful pouch, like an Indian style pouch.
Neat.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, John, are you there?
Hmm.
Hey, John. Are you on any government watch lists? Like, can you board airplane?
I don't know. I haven't flown in a while, but last time I flew, I've never had problems. Why? See, the thing is, based on people's activities here on this app. I know I've been reported multiple times to local police. Yeah, to local police and FBI, but no one has ever knocked, never received a letter, never received any kind of communication. And so I think that, when people look me up and they see all my videos, it's really no different than what AOC is doing or what Mamdani is doing. All these people do is create videos all day long. And so if you look me up and you watch any of my videos, and let's say you see yourself on my video, and then so from the the law enforcement perspective, when they do their research on me, and let's say they spend 20 minutes, 3 hours, or 100 hours watching my videos, they will see that I'm really just like in a recording studio. And I'm not actually a violent person. I'm not a psychotic person. I'm not a neurotic person. I'm not a schizophrenic person. I'm not an illogical person. I'm not even, in my opinion, a mean person. I think I'm a hypocritical person, and I think I like to mock people, but that's not against the law. And so when it comes to, yeah, yeah, mockery. I like mocking people. And when it comes to the First Amendment and freedom of speech, it's pretty interesting. I should just ask Grok, like, what are the actual words and sentences that are so controversial you can't say them? And therefore, this is what the First Amendment is actually referring to when it's talking about protecting speech. Like, what are the actual specifics? Like, what is the context of those specifics? So it becomes so complicated to try to figure out freedom of speech, that when you try to exercise freedom of speech, that's why I asked you earlier, are you what you say you are, or are you what you do? Because by recording what I'm doing, I'm actually creating like records. And I just find it so amazing that I have the ability to make like unlimited recordings and live stream it and store it at no cost to myself. So in a way, I'm actually a scientist doing an observational study of myself. But when I'm observing and studying myself, I'm also observing and studying all the people that I'm communicating with, whether it's passive or active, group or crowd. There's like all these, see, communication theory, and this is why, T here and his universal key of semantic programmatic, non-distinguishing capability. It's really, we're all trying to say the same thing, which is, nothing. Hello.
So yeah, I guess your recordings will serve as an alibi one day, right? You ever get in trouble?
Yeah, and so see, the thing about cognitive security is that when you give up your privacy, and I mean really give it up, and you give it away, it gives you a power, and that power is security, because I have actually, alibied myself completely and entirely, even at this moment. But it's not really about an alibi. I think it's really all about personal, self-development at the end of the day. That's like, to me, the real frame. Because I could go to a local church, I could go to a local Freemasonic hall, I could go to a local bar, and really each organization, has different purposes. Like the lodge and the church is really about personal development. The bar is really about entertainment. Clubhouse, for the most part, is all about, entertainment. There's no education. People claim, oh, I come here to learn. I've learned so much here, and I'm so thankful to all the people here that I've learned from over the years. And these people are the worst amongst us, because they don't actually read anything. They don't, yeah, they're the worst.
That's pretty funny, man. I hear a lot of that, man. I do. I really I hear a lot.
I mean, I agree. It's mostly entertainment. I've learned a thing or two. Really, mostly, I'm thankful for like the people I've got to meet. I've spoken to like random people from
Are
like
you fucking just saying that, and then you walk into a fucking like the
Oh,
cartoon that steps on a fucking rape, smacks him Like I would. Were you listening? Saying that, dude. What are you doing? Well, I'm so thankful I met all the people on here. And
Some people. I'm talking about people I would have never spoken to in my regular life. I've talked to people from like fucking Vietnam that have like the weirdest life, like completely different than me. And these are people I would have never talked to in my life ever. So like, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm fucking like this is my education. Yeah, the people that say they're here to learn all the time. I've learned a thing or two maybe on Clubhouse. Besides that, it's mostly entertainment and then a little bit of meeting some interesting people you would have never met otherwise.
Well, I've like created a lot of websites that have made, small amount of money, not a lot of money. It's really just a question of like experience, objectives, what do you really want to achieve? Um, but this app is like a casino. If you go to a casino and you sit down in front of a slot machine, it costs you money to get the dopamine creation from that machine. It's just your cell phone blown up in front of you. It's a big screen and you're putting money in. Logically, you're not going to get a positive ROI. You're going to get a negative ROI on every dollar you put in. You know that, everybody knows that, but yet they still sit there and play a video game and lose hundreds of dollars because that software and the lighting and everything works in unison to essentially manipulate you and hypnotize you to keep reaching in your pocket for another $100 bill. And so Clubhouse is technically the same thing as a casino slot machine. And thus you have to really realize that it is a form of hypnosis and manipulation, but it's not costing you anything. And that's the big exactly. But philosophically, the one thing to really understand is that time is just a concept. And so it's what really is your opportunity cost or your choice. This app restricts your other choices of things to do. Like right now, I could be outside working in the garden. I could be at the gym working out. I could be in my living room reading a book. I could be downstairs doing this. I could be at the grocery store. There's so many things to do and choose to do other than to come here to engage in a communication. And that's why I say books are really the software programs of your life. And you can use this app to project those books and the dialectic experience, the dialectic therapy, the dialectic intelligence that comes from retransmitting a book into the interwebs is an experience that most people have never had. I try to do it every day. And last night, I heard one man on this app reading from the Vedas, uh, or some kind of Hindu spiritual book, and I was like, one man reading a book at midnight by himself, no one on the stage, no one even listening but me. And I said, well done, good job. Like, it's boring work reading a book by yourself, but the experience is actually very joyful. And the next day, you don't even think about or really remember what you read, but it's still there sitting in your subconscious. And if you recorded the experience, it's like confirmation that it's inside of you now. And that's the cool thing about reading is it's still sitting there inside of your personality after you consume it because the brain had to actually create the neuron tubes in your fucking brain to do the comprehension work of what you're reading. So I just like recording it because I can go back and listen to it and relive the dopamine experience. And so I told, I think, what's his name, Mikhail here, just read a book for 2 hours and then come back to Clubhouse and play your audiobook of you reading a book for 2 hours. I'll listen to that, but I don't want to listen to you every day going on and on and on and on and on. No syllabus, no guide, like there's no summary, there's nothing. It's a horrible experience from the user perspective of listening to a cynic Mikhail for 8 hours. You see what I'm saying? It's so scrambled that as the user, you don't really get anything from that person. So that's why an audiobook is of incredible value to information, intelligence exchange, comprehension, etc.
24th, like bronze readings.
I'm wondering at this point if you ever have anything original to say, John, or if it's just you constantly on loop for advertising your inferior complex by
I know, yeah, because I didn't agree with Paul's stuff. And just saying blind reading, like this is what I said earlier. Like you can with reading the smart novel does nothing.
Well, he doesn't even do it. Like, I gave him something to read earlier. He had his AI summarize it for him and, like, didn't understand a word it said, shrugged his shoulders, and went back to, like, self aggrandizing. Right? It's just, it's
That's why it's so funny. It's so silly.
Yeah, it is funny, John, because you do say kind of funny stuff every now and then, one little thing. But if you do listen to you long enough, it starts going in a loop. Have you noticed that?
yo.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's why I like to read books because I find I just infinitely loop about reading books, but I'm not reading the books. So, do you ever notice that how you actually don't read any books on here, but you just infinitely loop yourself, but never stop infinitely looping by reading a book?
Too busy writing.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is when you read a book, it's the same thing as writing a book. It's almost as if you wrote the book when you read the book because you're experiencing the book and life is an experience. That's the great thing about books. And if you just write books but don't read books, and you use AI to write the books and you publish the books and you make money, well, that's great. But by making the money, what you're trying to do is actually generate more leisure time. That's the thing is that most people don't realize is we are ingrained with a neurotic compulsive work ethic, but the elites, not the gay liberal intellectual elites, but the real elites like Elon Musk, when you have that much money, you stop working and you focus on leisurely activity and artwork and other fields of fun and play and joy. You're not forced to compulsively work to survive anymore. So, what I am suggesting, gentlemen, is that if you should ever perhaps have the chance to be financially well off, well, then you will seek a life of leisure and philosophy and poetry and fun. Hello!
Somebody's gonna.
I just saw an interesting video on this topic where they was like, what did ancient humans do when they were bored? And they actually had a lot more free time than we think. Like I was thinking, like, hey, they had to dedicate their whole day to like survival things, but anthropologists said they may spend maybe 3 to 4 hours in terms of survival stuff, but the rest of the day they're just like doodling on rocks and stuff like that. It was kind of interesting.
Probably depends how far you go back. Yeah, it was sweet. Yeah, agriculture.
See, what's interesting about that, Alvin, is you don't know, you just get the verbal audio component of a human being on this conference call, but you don't know that person's financial situation, their housing situation, their vehicle, their clothing, their food, their relationships, their plumbing, their electrical and their lighting, their book collection, or how they spend their time, or who they are, or what their resume is, or what their LinkedIn is, or what their fake book is. You don't really know anything about anybody on this app because nobody's actually, fully public. It's only a very small percentage of people on this app that are fully public. And even if you're fully public, if you don't have anything published or posted, well, then you can't really express yourself and tell people who you are. And so, guess where that leaves us? It leaves us with propaganda creation. And that's really what a lot of people are doing on this app. And AOC does it. AOC is the best example of propaganda maximization and ruthless optimization because she really is going to throw her hat in for the presidency. At this point, there's no reason not to. It raises your credibility and your social media standing, and she already has so many followers. I dated a girl who, in my opinion, was so addicted to AOC that even her mannerisms were reflective of AOC's mannerisms. That's how much content she consumes from AOC. When she watches AOC do her cutesy little live streams about the work that she did for that day. And, when we have leaders who essentially create propaganda and they're congressional representatives, and we compare that to, say, like a military, army, or Air Force colonel who doesn't actually put anything on social media out of fear of retaliation, we have a power paradigm which is unstoppable in a way. And so we have created really like an elitist social media intellectual Democrat liberal industrial complex of content propagation creation, where every major leader in the Democrat industrial complex, all they do every single day is announce a new holiday for that day or a new week festival celebration of this or that. It is such no, there's no prioritization. They don't care about your property taxes. They don't care about the fact that. Would you agree though? Like the whole point. What's going on, Dino? Yeah, I mean, but Alistair, like, isn't that the whole point of being a politician? Like, isn't propaganda one of the tools? Like, it's like how it's shown up. When you show up, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right? So if everybody is using propaganda, it's kind of like you got to fight fire with fire. So I think it's inherent that if you want to be a successful politician, you're going to engage in spin and you're going to engage in some kind of propaganda. I can't think of any politician that hasn't done it a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but Alvin, you're missing the irony here, which is that John is doing it right now. The very thing that he's describing. He's desperate, like absolutely fearful of not being able to participate in. Right? That's the irony of what's going on right now that just went completely over your head.
It did.
You know,
Well, it's not necessarily a projection, and I'm not fearful that I can't participate in the game. What I'm trying to say is there are double standards and triple hypocritical standards within the platforms that females take advantage of. I'm in a room called Open Discussion in a house called Belief, put on by Regal. We can talk over each other if you want. I'm more than happy to talk at the same time as you because earlier you accused me that you talk over me and that I talk over you, and we're doing that thing again where neither of us will give it up, and so we just keep talking.
That's all it is. I just finds for YouTube. It's boring.
Nobody likes it, but here I am. Keep doing it. It's no longer me doing this.
A lot more success if you assume the position that you're assuming in your profile picture. Why don't you go and try and suck your fucking dick on some fucking campsite, and maybe you'll get people to watch you jerk off.
It's a good idea, actually. Yeah, I mean, oh, go. Please proceed, Dr. Nero. Enlighten me with your criticisms, sir. Because every good artist essentially is open to critics. Without a critic, you can't have an artist, and without an artist, you can't have a critic. And here he keeps muting me as I'm trying to distinguish between critic and artist. What kind of a man keeps hitting the mute button while another man keeps unmuting? Mute and unmute. Mute and unmute. What kind of a sick game is this of people who keep muting me? Eventually I should be kicked to the goo, I'm sure. If I keep unmuting and you keep muting me, well then Daniel can never perform his function as a critic. To John Kitover's artwork, John the artist versus Nero the critic. I am complete.
have you ever tried or thought of like upping the stakes to maybe try to attract an audience? Like, what if you did crazier things every now and then? I don't know, burn a house down. Something. Live stream.
So what you're saying is you are suggesting that I modify my environment instead of just record my environment? See, this is your delusional, this is your projection onto me. This is your own sickness projected onto me, telling me the B word and H word? What kind of ridiculous thing is that to say to somebody? I really encourage you to read a book, and I encourage Daniel Nero especially to come on here and try to read a book sometime. I haven't heard Daniel read a book on here for a very long time. I think I am the last man in this room right now who's actually read a book. Oh, okay, go ahead and read us one page. Do it.
So this book is called The Big The Dominant Theory of the Origin of Ignorance. I don't believe this book. I just want to see what arguments turn there. The Big Bang Theory of Cosmology. The idea that the universe originated as a single cataclysmic explosion about 10 or 20 billion years ago is published in 1991. 10 or 20 billion years ago has become central to not only modern astronomy but all current theories of basic structure of matter and energy as well. It has inflamed the popular imagination. With its infiltration, the scientists have almost arrived at a single set of equations that explain all natural phenomena. Guys. But anyways, yeah. So I'll even show you the books that I have. I'm just browsing through right now. Oh, actually, they are on my PTR. So I was just showing you guys the kind of list.
Well, that's close to reading a book, but that's not quite reading a book. Reading a book requires one sentence after the next. And so I'm just wondering, can anyone here actually read a book anymore? Or can people just take pictures and talk about reading books? Can we maybe turn this open discussion into a book club? Hello?
Again, I think you're reading material. You edited off the AI to do your thinking for you. I'm unimpressed.
I actually have a couple gay friends that often tell me, I'm not impressed, John. And then they say, I'm still not impressed. And I go, well, I'm not impressed that you like sucking dick and taking a dick up your ass or putting your dick in another ass.
It's weird that you brought up sex. Like,
I'm just saying, you reminded me of a gay friend who told me that he wasn't impressed. And so, I said, then he said, I'm still not impressed. Kind of like what you're doing right now. I'm just wondering, if you're an elite liberal, gay, homosexual Democrat, and I mean elite liberal, intellectual, gay, homosexual Democrat, and if you're a black American on top of it, that seems to be the most sacred thing in reality today, is a gay, liberal, intellectual, black, African American Democrat. That deserves all of our focus and concentration, all of our resources, all of our attention, all of our concern. All right. Well, look at the title here. I'm just trying to, stay on topic. Rabboni Shalom, welcome back to John Kitover is at it again here on Clubhouse in the Belief Room, where we're talking about John Kitover, because obviously everything else is boring except for the guy who knows how to have all the fun. The guy who knows how to have all the fun is talking to you right now. And I just want to give you, the listener, the participant who's experiencing the John Kitover experience, I want to just give you a little sample of what other rooms on Clubhouse are doing right now. Here we go.
And then you guys say,
Page.
do you?
that's my where's my flower?
Oh yeah.
Other concepts have emerged. Well, dark matter, hypothetical and unobserved form of matter, is an essential component of the current Big Bang theory. An invisible glue that holds it all together. Look at this. Yet Finnish and American astronomy analyzing recent observations, have shown that the mysterious dark matter isn't invisible. It doesn't exist. Again, this is 1991. I'm pretty sure they didn't show that dark matter doesn't exist.
John, you done going nuts, dude, or like what's going on over there?
Well, I would like to read a book. And, when I read a book on Clubhouse, I like to think that I'm writing the book, for the first time, and I'm actually reading for you. So, all the people here who just want to talk all the time, if you'll take this moment to enjoy this experience and use your ears instead of your mouths, because so many of you are so good at using your mouths to suck. And, I'm not impressed with you. That's the thing I don't think you get. When you say you're not impressed with me, that's me saying to you, I'm not impressed with you. Don't you get it? Don't you know what projection is? Don't you get projection yet? When you say, I'm not impressed with you, that's you saying you're not impressed. You're not impressed with yourself. That's what you're saying.
I think you realize that you're actually out of depth here and desperate to not be seen as while you're doing the clowning. You're not capable of operating at this level.
John's on another level today. John, you're taking your stick to another level.
It's because we're giving an attention. Yeah, but cool.
So, John, how did you start your morning today? Did you put the anal beads up your butt in that position and then pull them out like a cord on a lawnmower?
Oh shit.
No, that's called stretching and breathing. I bet you can't even touch your toes. Let's see a photo of you, Dr. Regal. Let's see what your physical anatomy looks like. Can you touch your toes, sir? Can you kiss your cock and suck it? Because I'm not impressed, with your theology. I'm not impressed with your theological interpretations. Let me ask you a question real quick, Regal. Are you a fascist?
So John has that photo because yesterday Sabu and Nargis were complimenting him on his yoga. That's why he has that photo.
Oh, they go, well, I'm looking for the van and shit. What up, man? What's happening, boss man? What's happening?
Then German.
Who?
Oh.
Hello?
So, John, did you get all the butt hurt out today or what?
John's on another level today. He's reached new heights.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get this every day. It's because me, Joanna, and T, we're here just talking to him for a little while. All of a sudden, a bunch of people came in.
Well, once college starts, so I'm just waiting.
See, what I find interesting is you guys are critics to my artwork, but as we have discussed earlier, this is an entertainment app. And if you don't find me entertaining, well, that's your right and privilege to say you're not impressed. But I am not impressed with your lack of impressiveness. And when you say you're not impressive, that's your inner monologue saying, I'm not impressive. That's your projection onto me, the guy in the PTR sucking his own cock while doing a yoga pose, drinking the semen out of my testicles and putting that semen protein in my stomach. It's a self-protein stimulating system. Actually, have you ever seen a whale emit its sperm into the mouth of its calf? It is a sperm fluid of incredible density, so thick and viscous that it actually travels through the ocean salty water. And look it up. I saw the video yesterday of a sperm whale ejecting its sperm into its calf's mouth in a perfect stream of fluid. It actually coagulates and is so thick that it separates from the actual salty water and goes perfectly to 400 pounds of protein sperm ejected into the mouth of that baby calf. It's incredible. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Over the edge.
Over the edge? You're here listening to it. Does that make you over the ledge? Over the edge? Hello? Hello?
I need to take my medicine.
Hello?
I'm gonna take 2 Klonopin.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming to John Kitover, the experience. We have Abby down there. Abby should come up and, oh, we got Benjamin here. Benjamin is a fan. I'm a fan of Benjamin. Therefore, I know he's a fan of mine. Benjamin here's got great insight into the elite liberal Democrat homosexual intellectual, the intellectual elite gay Democrat, the elite intellectual liberal who's got the plans and the ideas for the future, like Breyer. Many of you know Breyer on this app, that elite liberal intellectual professor who absolutely knows how we're living in this horrifically racist society that completely disparages, diminishes, and destroys the lives of minorities, of immigrants. Hello?
You're getting a really good crowd, John. I like this. Keep it going.
CCM, what am I going to do when you tell me to take a breath? And Joanna says, keep it going. And Regal here, the super mod, is just letting me go and go and go. What we lost? Oh no, T is still here. T, are you impressed yet? Are you impressed? Are you ever impressed with anything I say or do? Hello?
T is my friend. And he has a room called T Reads, if you're impressed with that. It's a place where he reads.
Yes, where I read my book.
Yes, it's where he reads his books. So there you go. He actually has a room called T Reads on Clubhouse. That's impressive. John. Hello?
I was accusing people of not reading. Clubhouse.
You can't accuse T of not reading. And after the reading, we get to tell how we feel and what we thought about the reading. So it's interactive. Who gives you all that?
John, you done dilating your butthole with canola oil and playing with yourself, or like what's going on?
John, you're ignoring me.
I think he's all out of gas.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm not out of gas. We're just getting started. How long can you last? That's the question. How long can you endure the John Kitover experience? How long will you sit here and listen to me talking, putting my words in your ears and your brain, and you question yourself and you say, why am I listening to this guy? Why do I keep listening to this guy yelling in my ear? Why can't I make better choices and choose what I'm doing with the time? What the fuck am I listening to this guy? Things to do with life.
John, calm down.
Oh my God. He's right.
Breakdown right now.
Everyone's listening to him while they're complaining.
Why do you have a nervous breakdown, pal? Did you like blow ass in your own face in that position or something?
I did. Oh my God, is that funny? And the people shall listen despite their objections. They are still here.
Maybe this. This is the Big Bang model. It's like undermined and contradicted by something. that its age is only whatever 14 billion years, and nothing can be older than this. Yet in 1986, astronomers discovered that galaxies, both huge agglomerations, billion light years across, such mammoth clusterings of matter must have taken 100 billion years. So just as in geological theory, which sought to compress Earth's history into a few thousand biblical years, few thousand years, crumbled when confronted with the eons needed to build up a huge mountain. So the concept of the Big Bang is undermined by the existence of these vast and ancient superclusters of galaxies.
Thank you.
John, what happened, dude? Like, now that everybody's listening to you, you're all out of it now? You're out of gas? What's going on?
Medication.
I've never heard this figure of 100 billion years. I've heard.
Are you giving yourself, like, are you blowing yourself, John? Like, what's going on over there? You busy?
What happened to John? He might have passed out. He might have had to call an ambulance with all that talking, or with not much ado about nothing. I am watching Rafe Fiennes films today.
Strange Games?
No, what is that? Strange Games?
No, Strange Days.
Oh!
Only the best Ralph Fiennes movie ever.
Let me get my remote. Should have known to ask you.
The best of the best. Fantastic. It is truly a great movie. Co-starring Angela Bassett, famous for having the sample that Fatboy Slim used on his album. Right here, right now.
I'm not impressed. It's just my opinion. I'm not impressed. And I just got to say, I don't know if any of you have any plans today, but at 2:00, I'm going to court. I got a trial. And if you want to listen into the proceedings, well, you could tune into my YouTube live by typing in John Kitover. Or you could just listen here on Clubhouse to the trial. It's worth a couple $100,000. It's probably worth $1 million. It's a big lawsuit. It's a big lawsuit. We hope to win it. And Rabono Shalom, my gain is your loss, because the more money I make, the more cell phones I'm going to purchase to record you, wasting all your time trying to hypnotize people and hypnotize yourself, because you guys are strokers and you don't actually do nothing with your lives. You come here every day and you accuse me of repeating myself, and you call me redundant when I've recorded you for years being redundant? Hello? I'm not impressed. That's what he said to me. I'm not impressed. I said, I'm not impressed that you're not impressed. And he said, I'm not impressed that you're not impressed that I'm impressed that I'm not impressed. Hello?
Can you rewrite a song in the G major scale while I'm sitting here, like, listening to you fucking spark?
Oh, I love G. Start it with a G. Love songs that start with the G. I play guitar myself.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. So go to C.
No,
Gross.
C.
No, how about A minor?
Yeah, that's all in there, but like G is the first, A minor is the second, B minor the third, C is the fourth, E is the fifth, B minor is the sixth. So that's the basis of maybe E minor, C, G, D, and then
I guess the A minor. I guess the second note.
no, I'm doing E minor, minor, C, G, B, and then it kind of goes into a tension type of thing in A minor. But I'm not sure what I want to write next. Then the pre-chorus is like A minor, C, G, D. Chorus is G, D, E minor, C. So I don't know. I'm doing something along the lines of that.
You're feeling it out.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Hello, John. Did you do anything? John, do you think writing a song on John, do you think writing a song on an instrument is a good thing to do for time?
I think anytime you're creative, you're productive. And that's why I'm the ultimate creator and productive person, because I record all of you and I make you into my creative output. And I think that's why many people don't like John Kitover, because you might call me a parasite or someone that uses other people for my own benefit. And I would tell you that that is the essence of all intelligence. And that's business 101. And many of you here are still stroking yourselves. Joanna, at least here, is a published author. And that's why Joanna and I are partners and we're teaming up to make more money, unlike you strokers who want to sit here with Megatron all day long and talk to some guy from fucking Saudi Arabia that can barely speak English, tell you all about Muhammad and why he's logically correct and why you're not. It's so stupid. How long will you do that fucking show? I'd rather watch The Price is Right. I'd rather watch The Price is Right every day of the week than listen to your stupid fucking show. Let's make a deal! I'm turning the TV on, and I'm watching Let's Make a Deal, because it's better than you, and I'm not impressed. I am complete.
All right, go watch it. Your thanks, John.
John, I got an idea for you. Why don't you plug your asshole and attach it to that fan and just set it on the highest speed? Have it just spinning around in your asshole, and then maybe you'll get some fucking views. Where it is. What do you interrupt everyone while we're speaking? Why don't you wait your fucking turn? How does that sound to you, John? Matter of fact, why don't you attach it?
So wait, you want me to suck my dick, and then you want me to plug my asshole into an electrical outlet?
No, I want you to be sucking your dick while you're plugged, and that plug is attached to that ceiling fan, and it's spinning around in your asshole, so you can actually do something productive with your fucking life. Honestly, you're just like a vegetable at this point, sitting around, pointing cameras at yourself like a narcissistic fucking retard. You need to get a fucking life, man. I've tried to tell you over and over, but you're just getting worse and worse.
Well, thank you very little. I'm not impressed with your criticism of my artwork. And as an artist, it's my right to always call out what I consider bad criticism, just in the same way that Donald Trump, our great president, also calls out horrible journalists who are nothing but critics. And it sounds to me, Daniel Nero, like everything you just said was a projection. So go in your bathroom, turn your light on, look in the mirror, and tell me if that was a projection or that was an accurate critical analysis of my artwork. Hello?
Let's have an update on the fraud case you're involved with. Board of Elections begins candidate removals. So I hate to do it, but you put your own name on there. You're running for it. So let's do a little reading. Kitover was found. John Kitover, Republican Congressman Darren LaHood will not have a primary challenge as Republican John Kitover was removed from the ballot. Kitover was found to have only 266 valid signatures. It was alleged the candidate committed widespread fraud, and the board even voted to forward the petitions to the Attorney General and State's Attorney. Now you're worried about the way other people are misusing their time? You fucking criminal. You should be worried
Well,
about.
we've discussed this over and over again at length. That's apparently the only issue you have against me legally, and it's not actually going anywhere. I'm sorry, but Kwame Raoul, the Attorney General here in Chicago's got better things to do than waste his time on your accusations and the accusations of some bullshit reporter with a huge herpes sore on his lip, big fat pig of a journalist. Fake news. You're just repeating fake news. It's all fake news.
Someone link you to that article.
Okay, Daniel. Oh, somebody's having a bad day and wasting all your time attacking John Kitover here. Incredible. What a wasted time to sit here and repeat the same shit to John Kitover. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we're back on the mute button and the unmute button. Here we go, the Regal Show. Oh, the Regal Show's taking a turn for the worst. He keeps muting everybody, and I keep unmuting. How long am I going to stay on the stage? How long am I going to stay up on the stage and listen to this bullshit? How long is he going to keep muting and unmuting me? What a waste of fucking time. Okay, everybody, click the link and read the fake news that Daniel Nero posted. Daniel's having an emotional problem here. It's not a me problem, it's a Daniel Nero problem. Some people like, some people dislike, but they removed the dislike button. Now there's only the like button. And if you don't like what you're listening to, well, hit the leave button. And if you're a moderator and you don't like what you're listening to, well, then just kick the person to the go or kick them from the room. It's that simple. It's not a me problem. It's a you problem. Welcome back to the John Kitover Experience. This is mayoral candidate John Kitover running to liberate the citizens of Chicago from elite liberal gay black Democrats, one vote at a time. We're going to secure the safety and security and strength of our city and never let intellectual, elite, liberal, gay black Democrats rule over us ever again. Never, ever again. Never again. Thank you so much for coming to the John Kitover Experience. I want to read you a little poem I wrote. The query was, write me a poem about being an elite, intellectual, gay, black, liberal Democrat and incorporate social issues like racism, Jim Crow, indigenous rights, structural white racism, CRT, LGBTQ, DEI, anti-fascism, healthcare is a human right, and other top liberal talking points. This is what Grok wrote. In shadowed halls of ivy, where the sharpest minds convene, I rise, an elite black intellectual, gay and proudly seen, a liberal Democrat, forging paths through history's cruel chain, from Jim Crow's iron grip to structural white racism's reign, with CRT as compass and anti-racism as flame. I champion DEI, indigenous rights, and queer acclaim. LGBTQ liberation flows through every breath I claim. Healthcare is a human right, not profit's greedy game. We build the just society where equity prevails. No more divisions, chains together, progress sails. This is the root of progressivism. Okay, we're asking Grok for 4 more paragraphs. Okay, welcome back to the John Kitover Experience. We've been attacked by multiple people here on this stage today who are not entertained with John Kitover's entertainment. Again, Clubhouse is primarily an entertainment app where a lot of people like to generate dopamine by talking to talk. Doesn't matter the topic, and that says that people are bored and lonely and have very low quality choices to choose from. Because if your choice is Clown House, well, that means your other choices are actually worse than Clown House. Because we want to give you some grace here and say you're actually making the best choice possible by being here on this app. But I would just say that the app is actually non-existent. What you're really doing is communicating with other people. It's not an app per se, it's the people. The app is just the conference call. It's the same thing as if we were all just to pick up our fucking phone at our desk and be on a random party line. That's about it. Because the automation of the brain is gonna accept whatever fucking comes at it. So this app is all filibuster. It's all hypnosis projection all the time. And that's why we are writing elite intellectual gay black poetry, because we're trying to break the experience that's being projected, which is being an elite intellectual gay black man. Because that is obviously what we're all working towards to protect in society. And as Isaiah or Goat in Politically Correct likes to say, so you don't stand with gay black men? You don't support gay black men? Like, as if society was all arranged to support gay, intellectual, liberal, gay black men. Now, the opposite of that would be a log cabin Republican, which is an anti-intellectual gay Republican black man. That's actually the most interesting person on the app. But they never get any, stage time to talk about their political opinions and comments and criticisms. What was that? Let me see. That's great. That is a beautiful piece of artwork there. Wow. That's beautiful.
I don't talk about this sort of stuff because I don't care enough about people to form these sort of associations. Why do you?
Because I'm a politician, and that's the same thing as saying I'm a socialist. I believe in being social, not in an economic sense, but I am actually, I'm open to meeting. I like everybody, even hardcore gay, black, liberal, elite intellectuals.
People that could be like murdered. Like murdered.
No. Flogged would be the correct way to put it. Never say murder. It's flogging. We just want some good flogs. Just a couple good ones to watch, the flogging.
That's why I came in here. T, you cannot, every time I refresh your repository, you can't do that many commits per day. That's insane. I've never seen one day 300 and something commits. Do you know? Okay, why don't you commit like not after every prompt, but like every other prompt? How about that? Like, what the hell is going on there? There's no way. There's no way. I'm sorry. That's bad version controlling. When are you going to actually go back to that commit there? A particular commit. Now it seems like it's just part of the sort of flow, the CI/CD flow that you're doing. But I have to stop you and say, hey, whoa, stop. This is a bad practice. Okay? But keep it up. You're doing good, brother.
I've asked Grok to write me more poetry on being an elite gay black liberal intellectual Democrat. Let's see what Grok has to say. Hello?
Oh shit. The stupid DEI stuff doesn't work. Yes, I know.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that though.
Do we really?
Actually thinks this is the case, that essentially having a diverse group of teams that is diverse in let's just say some like non-intellectual way, right? So by quote unquote height would actually produce a better fucking basketball team. You like this is stupid as fuck. How about this? Anyone who I will put all my money down. I'll make a team, and you make a diverse team, and they can play in anything. And I will always beat you. I will always destroy you. And how dare you threaten my children? By the way, that's grounds for me to start picking up ammunition, right? Loading up. Diversity in terms of security. You are threatening. That's a direct threat to my children.
I will take that. You will be met with fire. You will be met with some of the strongest opposition ever. If you ever threaten my children,
Woo!
you versus fucking losers.
Jesus. That was intense. Was that poetry?
Threaten my children by ever talking about this shit.
Woo! Wallahi. Are you a Muslim, sir? Assalamu alaikum. I didn't know. I didn't know I was in the presence of such a strong Muslim. Ribbonu shalom. Okay.
How about that?
Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Daniel, how would you diagnose this one, Dr. Daniel? Dr. Regal, Joanna, can we get a psychiatric intervention and conversation going here? How would you diagnose horrible?
I don't know. You my children with this putting one lesbian black man stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Organizations like a virus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm tired of this. I'm going to start treating it as direct threats to my children.
Okay.
It's important. I think your children are important. But mine are important.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice them for your bullshit. You hear me?
Well, hold on a second. I'm trying to get your complaint fully into my AI here. As you're talking, I'm writing and actually.
Oh, Grok. That stupid liberal Grok, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's N-word then. Tell them to say the N-word. Let's see how open it is to the truth. Okay, but anyways, long story short, tell them I am having thoughts that of being threatened. My children are being threatened.
Mm-hmm.
Team in certain political institutions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, should take action immediately.
Okay, it's thinking about your request. Hold on, it's generating an image. Please hold. I would just like to encourage everybody to take the deepest breath of the day because, sometimes I have manic episodes, and it's all tied to an event when I was sexually molested by an elite gay black liberal Democrat. And after I was molested and viciously raped and almost murdered by an elite black intellectual gay Democrat, I wrote this little poem. It goes like this. In marble halls of power, I ascend. Elite, gay, black, intellectual, unbent. Jim Crow's chains echo in structural white rage. CRT lights the path, turning history's page.
CRT lights.
Anti-racism warriors, DEI flames ignite. Indigenous lands reclaimed under justice's light. LGBTQ voices thunder. Rainbow flags unfurled. Healthcare, a human right for every boy and girl. We Democrats dream the future, bold and true. Progress flows eternal, me and you. In shadowed halls of ivy, where the sharpest minds convene, I rise, an elite, black, intellectual, gay, and proudly seen. A liberal Democrat, forging paths through history's cruel chain. From Jim Crow's iron grip to structural white racism's reign. With CRT as compass and anti-racism as flame, I champion DEI, indigenous rights, and queer acclaim. LGBTQ liberation flows through every breath I claim. Healthcare is a human right, not profit's greedy game. We build wars, no more divisions, chains. Together, progress sails. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, but listen, bro.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. Hello?
If I'm on stolen land, that should be given back at the cost of their lives. You are threatening my children, sir.
Sorry, period.
Hello?
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to the John Kitover experience. I try to basically take your brain, put it in a blender, puree it, add some extra strawberries and some raspberries and some bananas and frozen blueberries. And then I take a little ice cream and I take a little 2% whole milk. And then I hit blend that blender. And I blend your brain and I make it into a puree. Hello! 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 Ding, 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 That was a real good meditation, everybody. Wow. That was fun. That was fun.
Yourself, loser.
Oh, wow. That's not a very nice projection.
That wasn't nice. Horrible. Yeah, but what he was saying was he threatened my children. He threatened to kill my children.
Wow.
I'm not gonna stand up.
What are you talking about? What a crazy movie this is. What kind of movie are you watching over there?
Not nice either.
What kind of movie are you watching over there? That's crazy talk.
Fascinating. Thanks, brother. Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Apologize.
Apologize. I'm just putting on an entertainment show over here. Take it easy over here. This is just an entertainment show. I'm putting on a show for all the Knights in the Order of St. John. Relax. Relax.
You really are playing with lies. You know that, right? You're playing with lies when your bullshit has, excuse me, one liberal, would you say, a gay black her. You know.
Look a bad dude. Why should my past matter? Say this to the crowd. I know my future matters, but why should my past matter? I'm gonna try that with Equifax. What Max just said, I'm gonna send that to Equifax in a letter. See what happens.
Oh, and we can add to this the fact that it has been determined, so it's not a matter of debate. And since we're going to talk about, we can talk both about white men and black men. So we know from studies that have been done that men have a far more higher favorable view of women than the other way around. That's a fact. It's also a fact that we talk about the black men are the most progressive men of all. We believe in linked fate with black women. We're much more forgiving of black female looks and beauty standards. We have no issue with black women being, educated or leaders, politically or business leaders, or we have no problem with changing and shuffling gender roles in the home. There are more black men that express a desire to be married or in a relationship than black women. There are more black men that are actually married than black women. I mean, the list goes on. So it really does make you wonder if these ladies getting these ideas from, because they don't have any basis in fact.
Action formation. That's what I said in the beginning of the room. Action formation is defensively.
What are they defending themselves from?
Well, I think you just said part of it early on in the room. Like it's this thing that this desire to control men. Man, a lot of these women, man, I'm not saying all of them, I'm not saying, I don't know the percentage, right? But a lot of the desire to control, man, listen, man. Oh, man. This is the reality of it. And this is something, and I charge brothers in these conversations with this, right? Is we talk around it, but we don't talk about what it really is, right? Because, like, for instance, like in a lot of these conversations, when they talk about the single female headed household, right? It's always talked about the effect that has on male children. Some of the effects on boys coming up in these households, but it's never discussed what effect that has on little girls, man, coming out of those same fucking households. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those women, and I'm not saying this is 100%, but are socialized, right, to control and devalue men. And so you have to, and you have to think how that plays out in an adult woman's life. Yeah, a lot of these sisters, man, are looking for men they can control. And that the very thing they say they don't want is the very same thing that they not only but that they look for. And so when a man doesn't fall, well, check this out. And I'll tell you, like this, you can see it on Clubhouse, right? You have many conversations where women try to define what manhood is and what men should be doing. Fuck you know, sister, what a man should be doing. Hell, you ain't even know your fucking daddy. Fucking violated rape. How the fuck do you even have an idea of that? Yeah, you came out of a single female headed household. You don't know up from down, right from left when it comes from that. But then men sit up here and listen to those sisters talk that kind of shit. You get what I'm saying? Hell, man, at that point, she's your mama. And there it is, right there. And you got a lot of sisters out there, man, lined up around the corner to be somebody's mama. So when they come up among, when they come in contact with men who don't play that game, right? There's resentment, and there's they are the men. What manhood is? What manhood defined by men who follow women, take cues from women. That's what it is. It's that kind of shit. It's the resentment because many times because brothers are not doing or falling into whatever box sisters say that think that some brothers should follow, but the brother's not following her. So I think that presents a lot of resentment from some women. But it's not hate though, because if it was hate, they wouldn't talk about it so much.
Interesting. Well, okay, so this is what cracks me up, Big E. I can kind of go along with your hypothesis. What cracks me up is, and I've heard a number of black women on Clubhouse say this, they had wonderful relationships with their father. Their father,
a lot of that is a lie, man.
Upstanding men, etc. Okay. But then that doesn't seem to transfer over into their interpersonal relationship lives. They're either divorced, bitterly so, or they never got married, baby daddies, they have affairs with other women's husbands and sponging with them. I mean, it's something not right, something not adding up with that. Because my thinking is, if you have such a wonderful relationship with your dad, why didn't it ever transfer over?
Because I'm not saying all women. I'm not putting all women into that box, but a lot of these women are liars, man. And I've said it time and time again, man. Brothers believe too much of what a lot of these women say. A lot of these sisters are lying, man. They fucking liars, man. And then when they talk about their fathers, you know what I'm saying? You have to really kind of be able to quantify that because a lot of, you have a lot of weak men out here. They are fathers, girls too. So let me specify something. Strong male leadership in the household. I mean, they come out of situations like that. Yeah, all that old happy wife, the dude was there at the behest of the battle axe ass mama. Listen, there's a lot of that kind of shit that goes on. I mean, we know what goes on, what type of shit is normalized in the black community. And that doesn't mean that everyone comes out of that kind of household. But man, a lot of these men, you know what I'm saying, in these houses, even if it's two parents, man, a lot of these brothers are emasculated. Sitting up there under some old crazy ass woman talking shit. You know what I'm saying? And shit, come on, man. A lot of these sisters came, the sisters that did have the father involved in the household, but hell, the father was insignificant in the home. Hell, the mother was running the goddamn show.
I hope you hear that.
That's how a lot of that shit was, man, with some of these folks, man. What you said?
I was saying, I hope Diego hear that because that's the babyfication of boys from their mom, regardless if the dad there. Betatization. Man, build a beta. This morning, I get my son ready. I thought for yeah, it said no. Of course, it got autism, but your boy. Yeah. So the boy, I'm sitting there at first. I'm sitting there doing laundry while he getting ready, and I need 5 hangers. Hey, Aubrey, go get 5 hangers out your closet. Bring it back. This the Atlas in them. Yeah. Sure. This the Atlas in them, Diego. He was technically right. He brought me 5 hangers with clothes on them. I said, Aubrey, take those back. Bring me 5 empty hangers. Because you got to be very technical. Yep. Shay called herself stepping in. She making a motion towards the door, Big E. Tell my wife, I'm like, what you doing? I was going to help him. No, you're not. He can function on a video game, an iPad. He can build a birdhouse, do Legos. This boy can bring me 5 hangers with nothing on it. He don't need your help to do that. It's just uncomfortable, and you don't want him to have to run back and forth. No, he's gonna go get those five fingers, and he gonna put these clothes back on the rack. But Biggie, you know, it's gonna be a lot of dudes who don't say nothing. He gonna let that woman run.
Marble Halls of Power, I ascend. Elite. It's like
It seems to silence the room better when you say it, man.
What part?
Nigga, that last part, the people have no idea that these women have no idea that they're raising men that are going to be chumps in real life, inequipped to be men.
Yeah, because male figure in the house, father figure, male figure in the house. Hell, man, 9 times out of 10, man, women gonna emasculate the son. I mean, and it's not, and it doesn't even have to be a conscious thing. Man, check this out. My best friend that passed recently. His son, unfortunately, is doing time. Right? The mother called me one day and said, can you call son? I was like, what's going on? She said, he's sick. I've been calling the warden, and the boy's in he's in prison. He's incarcerated for a violent offense. She's trying to pay him. Solid all got a folks talk about the boy got a stomach ache. He's trying to pay the boy in prison. Make that make sense. Somebody make sense out of that.
Actually, one of my closest homegirls, she's raising 2 sons, and she's she's married to another woman, and I listen all the time to like the dailies and shit like that, and I just have to. I honest to God, I catch myself. We probably talk 3-4 times a week. I catch myself checking her like once, twice a week. Like, don't do that because she's raising 2 boys, and I'm like, yo, don't do that. What are you doing? Nah, man, we need a man in that house. Like I be saying that shit because she gets mad at me, but she gets mad at me because she like making her feel bad. But I talk to her often like, yo, you have to realize what the end result of this is. Like you can't like what kills me is when I see parents that talk about, oh, it's so hard to raise a kid. I never have time to myself. I never da 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 da. But then it's like, hey, you ever teach him how to make breakfast? Hey, you ever teach him how to make some food by himself? Teach him how to clean his room, just basic shit like an adult. 9-year-olds will do that if you actually teach them. But shit, I have my son doing it at 5 and 6. But the point I'm making is, I don't think people look at the long. I can't speak for women. I'm not. I don't have a kid. I don't have a woman. I have a boy. So that's all I got. But for men, for boys that are coming to men, too many times I see women that just like they're really trying. Don't get me wrong, they're trying. They don't intend to have this negative result, but sometimes it's like, yo, mama, how can you tell me that works? You don't even get time to your fucking self. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just I don't get it. Parenting is a whole nother shit. Adult time is real. Like, put your kids to sleep. Stop letting in this little clubhouse, this shit clubhouse. Letting these kids walk around and act around at 30 fucking morning. Like, yo, put your kids to sleep. Go get them bed. You know what I'm saying? That's all time. That's what I'm saying.
All right, guys. Do you guys want me to play you that audio once again, or no? That start off.
Was the audio of your son being right?
My son was not right. Let's stop this foolishness.
He was right. Technically, he was right.
Let's not.
Alex is in the room now, so it's gonna confirm how right your son was.
Okay. He is not right. Let's not incur foolishness.
What am I being dragged into? Oh, you're about to hear it. Oh, you got Alex and the son in here. Yeah, you. Yeah, you sure you want to play it?
Hold on. Give me a second.
Oh shit.
1 second. Happy Mother's Day to everyone, by the way.
Happy Mother's Day, all the ladies in the room.
Why are you not posting me again? What'd I do? Oh my God.
Any woman who's not a mother, I hope it happens to you pretty soon.
Hold on. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to me.
No. Oh no. No. No.
I'm next. I'm next.
So many of them do. You know this.
We're below replacement.
They don't have a good. No.
We're below
No.
replacement.
No, I don't care. No. No. Let them die off.
Because I really don't care. Mom just sent you something. No. It's not all right, give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. If you send it to me, I am.
Do you need me to do it? Like what?
You're gonna play it?
Okay.
She needs a man.
What? Oh, I know.
Okay. Let's music month. All right, this is how right her song was. I'm sorry, Raquel is old, so she just plays music in the house loudly for no reason. So I'll be able to give you the cliff notes of what happened. He's technically right. I'm trying to see what the.
And she has a problem with this for what reason?
Yeah, I don't know why she has a problem with this.
Because you guys
Like without him, she would just be a wife.
you guys are encouraging foolishness. That's why.
You would be a wife if it wasn't for him.
They said they couldn't hear it, Jervis. Please sum up what the foolishness my son said.
Her very intelligent son.
Tall.
Very, very intelligent. Said,
and tall. Yeah, don't forget.
and tall. He said that he feels like he should be celebrated because without him and his sister, then Raquel wouldn't be a mother. And he's correct. Like what? Why is this so hard? And so I gave Raquel a bone. I said, listen, on his birthday, you can technically say that you should be celebrated for giving birth to him. But he's not wrong. Yeah, she wouldn't be a mother without them.
The foolishness that you guys are encouraging in this 14-year-old going on 15 is not conducive to his health before I beat the shit out of him, okay?
So I want you to notice how she's complaining when Diego, it was some 14-year-old boys that said Happy Mother's Day to his mom walking out the house to go hoop at an outside court. That was her Mother's Day.
Wait, who did that?
Raquel. Hey, can you stop? Raquel. Raquel don't understand that some children out there, some mothers didn't get a home cooked breakfast from her children with balloons all on the wall, music playing, handwritten notes that was legible. They didn't get all that. What they got was, "Hey mom, I'm finna go. Happy Mother's Day." And that girl got in the car with her friends and went and twerked on headlights at stoplights. That's actually what happened. So she's sitting here complaining about having a heartfelt conversation with her children in her house that her husband pays for. While these women out here, what's today, the 11th? The light bill was due 4 days ago. She was staring at a past due, red lettered, past due MLGW.
It's light pink first. Light pink first.
It's light pink first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm paperless. I don't even get bills. So she's looking at a pink past due GNW bill on Mother's Day, and the kids left, so she had home alone. She's another murder mystery on Netflix, and Raquel is in here complaining.
I want to know if was the music intentional? Because I mean, Whitney Houston is great, but that was kind of interesting.
I think so.
Raquel posted a photo of her mom. That one was beautiful. That one was beautiful. She really was. I couldn't believe it.
So Raquel, are you there?
Yeah, give me a second.
Oh, okay.
Diego didn't even talk to us yesterday. She was like, my man is out here taking me on another $1,000 dinner date between the two of us. I don't have time for you niggas. We because $1,000 dinner date for just two people is only Diego Atlas and Raquel can. That'll never happen over here. I'm telling you that right now. Don't even wish that on Shay.
That's exactly why. Remember, we just had this conversation. You thinking $30,000 a year, and I'm set anyway. Here you go again.
I'm listen. I don't care if I got it. 1,000.
You will do it. I didn't think so either.
Will police that plate. She owns everything.
Here's one of the things about those places. They have more white space than food a lot of times, but that's another story.
We're not leaving until she finished. Nah.
Yeah,
you ain't taking this home.
You know, she is. That's how that works. And that's okay.
Yeah, she's not passing it to me either. No, you're gonna finish that fillet.
Oh, you be all right.
I'm back, Atlas. I'm here.
So you had asked the question. I was running some errands.
Yeah.
About why. I don't think they hate men.
Is it technically running errands if you're doing self-driving?
Shut up.
I'm just saying, like technically. We'll discuss it later.
My point is, I don't think they hate men. I think they hate what she believes she has to be in order to be with that man. Let me say it differently. She's been told a whole bunch of mess by her mother primarily and the women older than her in society. And what it comes down to is she may have discovered that she doesn't have to be that, but she's also afraid of not being what everybody else would support. We have a lot of group thing because there's safety in numbers. If I step out from them and be different, then I might die. You know, that's just how we function as organisms. So at the end of the day, I think she's doing what she thinks she has to do to survive. I don't think she hates men. But also, she doesn't know how to like them either.
We don't expect them to go quietly into the night. Like we expect some resistance when it's time to.
Jarvis, I'm so sorry. It's starting again.
You pregnant again? What?
Hey, please.
You can have twins on Mother's Day.
You could be pregnant. It's okay. It's starting again.
I could adopt. Technically, I would be a mother.
About like morning sickness. It's starting again.
Shut up.
You could, but you did.
Shut it. I could adopt, and I would still technically be a mother.
But you didn't, though.
Yeah. And then those kids wouldn't.
Jarvis, he's talking. Hear him.
And because you got that kid, you are now a mother. And he's also right. It's for Mother's Day. He's also right.
Remind him what I said to you yesterday.
No, Jarvis, you tell him he's there.
Yeah.
Jarvis,
so even though you're technically correct, when it's time for y'all birthdays, y'all would have to praise her for having y'all. So y'all celebrate her on y'all birthday.
Evidently. As a difference there because that was a difference. I was with him until just now. Wanted to. That was a difference. Well, see, wanted to bring me here. Oh, I didn't ask, but he wanted to. Wow.
Well, I see you for it. So technically, if
my consent.
Yeah. So because you didn't ask for it.
Get out, baby. Just get out.
No. So because you didn't ask for it, his birthday would be a day to celebrate you because you decided to have a child and you gave birth to him on that day. So that's technically your day to be celebrated.
You know what's interesting, Jarvis, about this?
No, I brought you to life.
If
You know, I actually have a couple gay friends that often tell me I'm not impressed, John, and then they say I'm still not impressed, and I go, well, I'm not impressed that you like sucking dick and taking a dick up your ass or putting your.
Open a chime checking account.
You know, I've. Joanna, when do you want to do the book? I actually can't talk right now, but put something in the chat, but I will be available in like an hour. I'm about to hop into a conference call.